Chapter 54, Chapter 44. The Lost Blades. Kyoha Academy. Kyoha, Japan. Satria pushed open the rooftop door and made his way to his favorite spot. The wind brushed against him as he settled down, the perfect backdrop for a moment of peace. But the tranquility didn't last long. His group chat buzzed incessantly. He opened the dimensional group chat, where tags were lighting up like a festival. Satria sighed. What now? Underscore. Dimensional chat. Kazuma-sama, Satria-sama. Give me some tips for using my new ability from the surprise box. Shin, what ability did you get, Kazuma? Kazuma-sama, it lets me turn trash into trees. But that useless goddess is mocking me, calling it worthless. I want her to eat her words. Evil spirit, wait, does that mean you can turn yourself or at pervert into a tree? Now that is a gift. Kazuma-sama, see? Even you guys are making fun of me. Shin-sama, help. Loudly crying face. God of Hope, that's actually an interesting ability. Do you know the first Hokage from my world? He controlled wood and was called the God of Shinobi. Kazuma-sama, really? Could I become as strong as him? God of Hope, with training, maybe. The potential's there. As death, fascinating. It makes me want to fight him just to test my strength. How about you and I train together, Naruto-kun? King of Knights, what? You can't train with him. He promised me first. As death, oh? I don't mind if we do it together. Or are you scared of being dominated by me, King of Britain? King of Knights, excuse me. Do you know who I am? I never back down from a challenge. God of Hope, ladies, please calm down. I'm fine with both of you training together. As death, phew, thank you, Naruto-kun. You're so accommodating. King of Knights, wait, what? You're okay with her joining? You idiot! King of Knights has gone offline. God of Hope, how is this my fault? Pervert sage, my student, truly a man among men. I'm so proud. Loudly crying face. Satria smirked, shaking his head. The group's chaos was endless. Shin, Kazuma, your ability isn't bad. That dumb blonde is right. If used properly, it could create divine treasures, powerful weapons. But if you're clueless, I offer these packages through Satria boosting services. Paquete Phoenix 1, answer any of your questions with limited answers, 1,000 copyright. Paquete Phoenix 2, accept a listening service to vent about anything and provide solutions if needed, 2,500 copyright per hour, guaranteed by Harvard University in America. Paquete Phoenix 3, expert tips and strategies tailored to you, start from 3,000 copyright. Paquete Phoenix 4, one-on-one private tutoring with my dearest costumer, 50% refund if unsatisfied, price according to difficulty level. Or, you could pay me with something unique from your world if you don't want to pay with your coins. Shin has played, DJ Uber.mp3. God of Hope, who are you calling a dumb blonde, you brat? This is an abomination. What is this song? As death, whoever played this stupid song better pray I don't come after them. This is worse than 1,000 wars. Shin, what? It's just a little song. Don't tell me you're all getting annoyed already. Evil spirits, I am about to reach through this screen and strangle you. Kazuma-sama, you are a thief and turn off this shitty song. Shin, thief? I was going to offer a discount. But you seem to be reconsidering. You guys can't appreciate art, can you? Shin turns off the DJ Uber song. Evil spirit, never again, Satria. Never again. Kazuma-sama, Okay, okay. My bad, it wasn't me, it was my useless goddess typing earlier. I'll pay. Just send me the info. Shin, a misunderstanding. Apologies accepted. We're still best friends, right? Kazuma-sama, sure, sure. Can I get package 3 for 1,500 copyright? Best friend discount. Shin, non-negotiable. Tomorrow the price doubles. Don't miss your chance to impress that goddess girlfriend of yours. Kazuma-sama, she is not my girlfriend. Fine, here's the money. Happy now? Kazuma-sama sent 3,000 copyright to Shin. Shin, much appreciated, dear customer. Let's continue in PM. Evil spirit, you planning to scam the rest of us too? Shin, scam? That's harsh. I provide premium services for my precious friends and nothing in this world is free, milady. Robin, actually, I'm a bit confused about the weapon I got from the surprise box. Shin, oh? Let's hear it. Robin, here's a picture. Robin uploaded an image. Shin, Kaiten Kaikotsu. That's the name of this twin sword, isn't it? Robin, yes. How did you know? The description only says it has spirits inside and lets me manipulate shadows. Sometimes, I dream of two women. Who are they? Shin, those are the spirits of your Zanpakut. Its true power is immense, but as a hero, you might struggle with unlocking its full potential. The weapon requires cunning and ruthlessness at times. Robin, interesting. Can you teach me how to use it? Shin, of course, but knowledge comes with a price. Smirking face. Robin, money's not an issue. Just name it. Shin, excellent. Let's discuss the details in PM. ________. Satria lounged in his favorite rooftop spot, grinning as he completed his latest transaction in the dimensional chat. He had just bought all the chapters of the Law of Yuki manga. The moment the deal was finalized, a surge of knowledge flooded his mind. In mere seconds, he learned every skill Yuki had mastered, from turning trash into trees to the more advanced techniques like Kurogain and Reika. Satria leaned back, his grin widening. The possibilities of these abilities were endless. _________. Private message. Kazuma-sama, alright, now teach me how to use these divine treasures or whatever they're called. Shin, fine, let me break this down for you. Your ability to turn trash into trees is just the start. The divine treasures are powerful weapons, and your power has 10 levels. Each level unlocks a new weapon, with higher levels offering greater damage and versatility. But mastering them takes practice and strategy. Kazuma-sama, wait, there are 10 of these things. Shin, let's start from the bottom, since that's where you are right now. Your first divine treasure, the one-star weapon, is called Kurogain. It's a cannon that shoots a powerful projectile. Simple but effective in its gain through consciousness or realization. Kazuma-sama, alright, I can handle a cannon. What's next? Shin, alright, listen up. Your level 2 divine treasure is called Fudo. It's a big shield that can block almost any attack coming from the front. Perfect for defense and staying alive when you inevitably screw up. Kazuma-sama, finally, something practical. What's next? Shin, level 3 is Renma. Think of it as a giant, sharp knife. This one's for offense, it deals great damage and can slash through opponents with ease. Pretty handy if you're not too clumsy. Kazuma-sama, okay, this is getting good. What about level 4? Shin, for level 4. Please transfer 500 copyright to unlock the next part of this exclusive coaching session. Remember, your satisfaction matters to me. Do you enjoy my services? Feel free to leave a glowing review. Kazuma-sama, you greedy bastard. You're worse than that useless goddess. Shin, and yet here you are, still asking for my help. Don't be shy, invest in your future, my friend. Kazuma-sama, tch. So I actually have to work for this. Shin, of course. What did you expect? Now, get to training and stop whining. Or better yet, pay for one of my exclusive training packages. Kazuma-sama, fuck you. Kazuma-sama is offline. _____________. Ah, another satisfied customer. Business is booming. Satria smiled proudly. Tskck. Your Bunda must be sad to know that her beloved son has become such a bad boy. Fatalis felt like a failure as a guardian. ___________. Private message. Robin, let's skip the small talk. How much do you want, or what do you need from me? Also, is this weapon dangerous to the people around me? Shin, direct as always. I appreciate a no-nonsense customer. To answer your question, for now, no, the weapon isn't dangerous to anyone except your enemies if you use it right. By the way, I've got something that might interest you. I sell magical cameras that could be quite useful for your hero operations. Care to take a look? Robin, a magical camera? What's it do? Shin, this beauty overrides a person's attire with any image you upload into it. Perfect for undercover missions or just having a bit of fun. What do you think? For your information, this is the first prototype I made before I sold it to the public. Robin, interesting. How much are you charging for it? Shin, for you, a special price only 2,500 copyright. Or, if you prefer, something worth $8,000, and we'll call it a deal. Robin, what if I want the camera and information about my sword? Shin, well, since you're bundling, I'll offer a generous discount, 4,500 copyright total, or an item or intel worth $10,000. A great deal, wouldn't you agree? Robin, intel, hey? What kind of information do you want from me? Shin, let's say, any knowledge about the Speed Force from your world. If what you share is useful, I'll consider that as payment. In return, I'll tell you everything you need to know about your weapon. Robin, wait. Don't tell me you've somehow gained access to the Speed Force? And how do you even know all of this? Where do you learn these things? Shin, a good businessman never reveals their secrets, my friend. Let's just say, it's an admin privilege. I have my ways, and I never force my clients to buy anything they don't want. You're always free to browse. Robin, fair enough. I'll think about it and get back to you. Robin is now offline. _________________. Ah, another potential deal in the works. Being this brilliant is exhausting sometimes. Your greed knows no bounds, Satria, Fatalis, the neat dragon bound to him, snarked. Why not set a price like you did with Kazuma when Batman Jr. asked for your help? Satria smirked but didn't answer immediately. He knew exactly what she was referring to. Dick Grayson had recently reached out to him for guidance. Unlike Kazuma's straightforward ability, Dick's request came with broader implications. There's a reason I didn't set a price for Dick's case, Satria finally responded. With his help, I can gain more knowledge about the Speed Force. Even better? He might introduce me to the Flash and his team. Fatalis gave a derisive laugh. Not a bad plan. But don't forget, the Speed Force also comes with its fair share of bad news. Like that lunatic Reverse Flash. Are you sure you want to deal with someone who's basically your multiversal twin in craziness? Satria paused, grimacing. Ah, right. That nutjob exists. Fatalis seized the opportunity, her tone dripping with mockery. Wait, don't tell me you've only now realized that? Honestly, the heroic you and Reverse Flash aren't that different. You're both chaotic forces in your worlds. Satria snapped out of his thoughts, scowling. How dare you lump me, a paragon of justice and charisma, with that deranged lunatic? In what universe do we even remotely compare, you damn neat dragon? Fatalis cackled, clearly enjoying his irritation. Oh, I don't know. How about asking those players you pranked because they called you a noob in that online game? They might have some opinions. Satria rolled his eyes and muttered, I don't know what you're talking about. Ignoring me, hey? Typical. Fatalis huffed, but her tone suggested she was enjoying the banter. Unbothered, Satria shifted his focus back to his dimensional chat. A string of private messages awaited his attention. The corners of his lips twitched upward. Plenty of business opportunities in here, after all. Satria leaned back with a satisfied grin. Finally done. Now, time to enjoy that book. He rummaged through his pouch and pulled out a particular novel, its cover gleaming in the sunlight. Fatalis perked up. Oh? Finally going to read something worthwhile? Let's see what makes this so-called emperor special. Her tone carried both curiosity and skepticism, clearly expecting some tale of power or strategy. However, her hopes were quickly dashed. Satria flipped open the book and chuckled. Ah, Jiraiya, you mad genius! Tale of the strongest ninja and the king from the west. What a masterpiece! He began reading aloud, his laughter filling the air. Fatalis squinted. Wait, what? Satria smirked and summarized. It's a love story. A ninja from the east is sent to assassinate the undefeated king of the west, who plot twist turns out to be a woman disguised as a man. Cue forbidden romance, political drama, and smut. Lots and lots of smut. Fatalis blinked. Smut. Satria ignored her and continued. So the ninja discovers the king's secret, and instead of killing her, they fall in love. Their romance becomes the bridge for peace between the East and West. Oh, but there's a hidden route too: either they escape to live a quiet life or die tragically in battle. It's brilliant. His grin widened. The best part? Jiraiya didn't hold back with the steamy scenes. No wonder this is a bestseller. It's already getting a visual novel adaptation, and I hear rumors about an anime and a movie. Fatalis groaned, exasperated. Of course. Instead of reading something that could improve your mind, you're indulging in that. You're a hopeless idiot, Satria. Satria raised an eyebrow, feigning offense. Excuse you. This is part of my job. I need to evaluate this masterpiece before it goes public to ensure everything is perfect. I pity you for not recognizing my dedication. He smirked, his expression screaming mock superiority. Fatalis sighed deeply. Dedication, hey? If you weren't my bearer, I'd be embarrassed to be seen with you. Honestly, you're unbearable. Satria leaned back and grinned mischievously. Oh, is that so? Don't tell me you're just mad because you don't understand the artistic brilliance of this tale. Fatalis snapped, her tone dangerous. Look here, boy. Keep this up, and I'll make sure to squeeze every ounce of energy from you until there's nothing left. Instead of being intimidated, Satria burst into laughter. Oh, really? That's supposed to scare me? You better be careful, old lady, or you'll end up getting drained yourself instead. Ha ha ha. Just be ready when the time comes, you stupid puppy of mine. Fatalis grumbled, clearly annoyed after being called an old lady. You'll regret it later. Their bickering was interrupted when the rooftop door creaked open, revealing a petite figure with short white hair. Konako stood silently, observing her senpai with a questioning look. It was rare to see him smiling so weirdly. And something about him felt different. Taller, more handsome, and exuding a strange warmth that made every fiber of her being feel at ease. However, as Konako instinctively moved closer, her devil instincts screamed at her to stop. Satria noticed her hesitation and smiled softly, suppressing his aura. He knew his light-based energy was intimidating for beings of darkness like devils. "You okay?" he asked, walking toward her and gently patting her head. "You feel very different, senpai," Konako replied, her cheeks faintly pink as she melted under his touch. "What happened to you?" Satria gave her his signature goofy grin. "Oh, nothing special. Maybe puberty hit me harder than usual, hey." Konako wasn't convinced. Her senpai was hiding something, but what? As she stepped closer, her sharp sense of smell picked up on something peculiar. Two distinct female scents clung to him. A deep, primal jealousy stirred within her. "Senpai, can I touch your body for a moment?" Satria blinked, sensing the potential for misunderstanding. Sure, just don't do anything weird, okay?" Without warning, Konako pushed him against the wall and began sniffing and examining him like a detective. "You?" she murmured, her voice laced with suspicion. "You smell like a dragon." "No, 2 dragons. It's like they've marked you as their mate." "Care to explain, senpai?" Satria scratched his cheek, nervous. About that." Before he could respond, he scooped her up in his arms, startling her. In a blink, they were gone, and when Konako looked around, she found herself standing by the majestic Niagara Falls. "Where?" she stammered, stepping back from his embrace and immediately adopting a defensive stance. "Are you here to silence me, senpai? If so, don't think I'll go down without a fight." Satria chuckled, releasing a sliver of his combined ultra power, speed force energy, and fatalis aura. The overwhelming pressure made Konako tremble and drop to her knees, gasping for breath. "Relax, kitten," Satria said, his aura dissipating. "I'd never hurt you. I brought you here because I needed to talk, but first, I have a few questions." Konako steadied her breathing, the oppressive weight gone. "What do you want to know? And what's this offer you mentioned?" Satria crouched to meet her eye level, his tone uncharacteristically serious. "Are you happy living as a devil? Living without freedom, devoting your entire life to someone else's cause? Do you even have a choice in your path?" "Freedom." The word felt foreign to Konako. "I owe my life to the Gremory family. It's my duty to serve them. They saved me when no one else would." "I see." Satria nodded thoughtfully. "Then, let me ask you this, what's your dream? What gives your life meaning?" Konako froze, unable to answer. Her life had always revolved around servitude. She'd never thought about herself. "I want to find my sister," she finally whispered. "To ask why she abandoned me." Satria sighed, gently patting her head. "Is that really a dream? Or just a lingering wound? You don't even know the purpose of your life, do you, kitten?" Konako's ears drooped, her heart heavy with the weight of his words. "Do you ever wonder why things turned out this way?" Satria continued, his voice calm but firm. "Why someone like Rias, a young, naive devil, managed to gather such a perfect peerage? Doesn't that seem suspicious?" Konako blinked, startled. The thought had never crossed her mind. But now, his words made her question everything. "How do you know all this? Why tell me? Are you one of those who hate devils?" Satria chuckled, shaking his head. "No, kitten. I don't hate devils, but I dislike the way they enslave others." His voice dropped an octave, vibrating with an ominous power. "Do you want to know why I'm doing all this for you, Konako?" Despite the fear creeping up her spine, Konako nodded. Satria straightened, placing a hand on his chest with a proud smirk. "Because I'm a proud member of Pecinta Cucking Indonesia, cat lovers of Indonesia, and I can't let any kitten suffer under my watch." "You're an idiot," Fatalis muttered, face palming inside his mind. Konako stared at him, her lips trembling. Then she burst into giggles. You're so silly, senpai. Satria's smirk widened. Aw, did my adorable kitten just smile? Stop teasing me, Baka senpai, Konako said, her cheeks a bright red as her tail shot straight up, revealing her happiness. Alright, let's get serious. Satria held out his hand. I'll offer you something better than servitude. What's your offer? Konako asked, her voice tinged with suspicion but also curiosity. Satria's expression turned serious as he crossed his arms. First, I'll erase all your memories about me. After that, we'll be strangers. Konako froze, her eyes widening. No. Why would you do that? Is everything that happened between us meaningless to you? She asked, her voice trembling. Satria sighed, looking out toward the horizon. It's not meaningless, Konako. But I can't risk the safety of my family. If your faction finds out about me, they won't leave me alone. Her hands clenched into fists, her ears drooping. Is there no other way? I don't want to lose you, senpai, she whispered, her voice breaking as tears welled in her eyes. Satria turned to her, his gaze softening. There is another way, but it's not an easy path. What do you mean? Konako asked, her voice shaky. Are you willing to betray your friends for me, kitten? Satria asked bluntly, his words cutting through the tension like a blade. Konako's breath hitched. The question struck deep, and she hesitated, unable to respond immediately. Satria walked closer, kneeling down to meet her at eye level. Listen, no matter what choice you make, no matter what I become in this world, I'll always care about you, Konako. I'd never let anything harm you, even if you reject my offer. You're such a dramatic idiot, Fatalis's voice chimed in, dripping with sarcasm. What are you, some bargain bin romantic hero? Can you not ruin my moment, old lady? Satria shot back internally, rolling his eyes. Oh, please, lowly Tria. Just admit you're a closet lolicon and move on. Satria groaned audibly, rubbing his temple. I swear, if you call me that one more time. Meanwhile, Konako's cheeks turned a deep shade of red, her tail shooting straight up in the air, a clear sign of her emotional turmoil. She couldn't hold back a small smile. Not fair, she muttered under her breath. What's not fair? Satria asked, leaning in closer. You're not fair, she said, looking down as her ears twitched nervously. With everything you've said, how could I possibly say no? A smirk spread across Satria's face as he stood and extended his hand toward her. Then let me offer you this, my little kitten. Join me. I promise our adventures will be fun. We'll support each other's dreams and build a trust that can't be broken. Take my hand, Konako, and become part of my family. Konako hesitated, her gaze shifting between his hand and his eyes. Her heart raced, torn between loyalty to her current life and the promise of something she'd always longed for: freedom, purpose, and a bond stronger than servitude. Slowly, she reached out, her small hand trembling as it rested in his. I'll follow you, senpai, no matter what. I don't understand why, but my instincts are screaming that my Dana-sama is up to no good, Kiyohime muttered, her eyes narrowing dangerously. Her serene expression twisted into a menacing glare as she gripped the kitchen knife, slicing through the fish and the cutting board like it was paper. Ariel, who had been happily watching her prepare the meal, froze in place, its eyes wide with terror. The air around Kiyohime seemed to darken, and the sharp sound of the knife echoed ominously in the kitchen. Noticing the poor creature's trembling, Kiyohime softened her expression and tilted her head with an apologetic smile. Aira, forgive me, little one. I didn't mean to frighten you. With practiced elegance, she placed the freshly sliced fish on a plate and gently set it before Ariel. Here's your meal, just as Dana-sama requested. Enjoy it, darling. Ariel hesitated for a moment, glancing between Kiahim's now gentle face and the mutilated cutting board. Deciding it was safer to focus on the food, it quickly began eating, though its tail twitched nervously. Kiyohime watched with a sweet smile, but her thoughts remained ominous. What kind of mischief is my Danasama up to now? If he's causing trouble again, well, I'll just have to remind him who he belongs to. Satria had returned to Kyoha Academy with Konako in his arms, her small frame clinging tightly to him as if she'd never let go. Naya, I'm never letting you go now, senpai, she purred, her voice laced with playful mischief. Her eyes sparkled, their pupils turning into heart shapes as she buried her face in his chest. Please pamper me more with your magical hands, hee. It was a mistake to let you experience my new technique, Satria muttered, letting out a resigned sigh. His technique was a combination of his newly acquired Cosmos Aura, capable of even taming colossal kaiju, and his new heavenly tamer abilities, refined further with his years of experience caring for cats. Coating his hand with the warm, calming energy, he had patted her gently, channeling care and love in every stroke. Not my fault, Konako chimed smugly, a cheeky grin spreading across her face. She kissed his cheek softly and whispered, "You're mine now." "I'm glad you enjoyed it," Satria replied with a wry smile, "but our time's up. Your friends are probably looking for you." Konako's lips jutted out in an adorable pout. "When will you introduce me to your family?" "Soon," Satria promised, giving her a reassuring smile. "And when the time comes, we'll start your training in Senjutsu. I have a friend who can teach you a safe and effective method to master it and make you stronger." Konako's face clouded momentarily, her hesitation evident. Satria could see her reluctance, likely tied to the trauma of her past. Kneeling slightly, he placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Konako, look into my eyes." She raised her gaze hesitantly, her ember eyes meeting his steady and gentle ones. His smile radiated warmth, and she felt her face flush at the sincerity he exuded. "We all have fears," Satria began, his tone calm yet firm. "They're shadows in our minds, haunting us and holding us back. But let me tell you something, those fears, they aren't your enemies. They're part of you. Fear isn't meant to be buried, ignored, or avoided. It's meant to be faced, embraced, and mastered. When you run from your fears, you give them power. But when you confront them and accept them, that power becomes yours. So think about it, what's scarier? The beast you know or the beast you don't? The monster you control, or the one you fear? I know it's hard. Facing your fears is terrifying, even painful. But once you do, they lose their power over you, and you become stronger, unrestrained, free. And always remember, you're not alone. You have me. I'll always support you, Konako. Don't let fear hold you back from your true potential." Konako's ears twitched as she absorbed his words. Her chest felt lighter, and for the first time, the concept of facing her trauma seemed less daunting. "You truly have a way with words, lowly Tria," Fatalis teased dryly. "That poor girl doesn't even realize she's walking into a trap you've so elegantly laid out for her. Can you stop ruining the moment for once?" Satria snapped, exasperated. Konako, meanwhile, was staring at Satria with wide, admiring eyes. He wasn't like anyone she had ever met. His words weren't empty reassurances, they were genuine, spoken from the heart, meant to uplift her. She could see it now, Satria wasn't someone meant to serve others. He was a leader, born to stand above. "You're right," she said softly, her voice steady but emotional. "I need to move forward. I want to become someone you can be proud of, senpai." Her eyes shimmered with determination. "Thank you for believing in me. No one's ever done that for me, only you. Good girl." Satria smiled, gently setting her down from his arms before giving her another affectionate pat on the head. Konako blushed deeply but allowed herself to enjoy the moment. "Now, let's head back to where your friends are," Satria added, his tone turning playful. I'm curious to see what new shenanigans they're up to. Konako nodded with a shy smile, but in her heart, she made a silent vow, to grow stronger and ensure she would always stand proudly by his side. In the Orc Club room, the members sat in an unusual silence. The tension was palpable, as Rias Peerage and the exorcists exchanged glances, the conversation at a standstill. "Where is Konako?" Rias asked, a furrow in her brow. This was unlike her rook, she was never late for meetings, and yet, today, she hadn't shown up. The others exchanged confused looks, their eyes scanning the room for any sign of their absent teammate. Suddenly, the door creaked open, and in walked Konako, her expression one of bliss. She looked almost dreamy. "Sorry, Bucko, I'm a bit late," Konako apologized, her voice soft but sincere. Ria's gaze softened as she took in the sight of her rook, but a playful smile tugged at her lips. Ara, someone looks happy." "What happened, Konako-chan? You look like you're walking on air," Akeno teased, raising an eyebrow. It was rare for Konako to display such emotion, especially in front of the others. Konako blinked and wiped the small smile from her face, quickly reverting to her usual, stoic demeanor. "Where were you, Konako?" Rias asked, concern lingering in her voice. "We couldn't find you anywhere on school grounds." Konako paused for a moment, as if considering how to answer. "Nothing. I just went outside to buy some snacks," she answered nonchalantly, holding up a bag of snacks. Inside, the items were from the local convenience store, but the faintest hint of guilt flitted across her face as she quickly dropped her gaze. Rias sighed, her expression softening. "I see. But next time, please let us know where you're going first. I don't want anything bad to happen to you." Her voice was gentle but firm, a clear sign of her caring nature. Konako's heart twisted slightly. Satria-senpai was right. Bucko isn't a bad person. She genuinely cares for me. Despite her internal reassurances, she couldn't shake the feeling of guilt building up inside her for betraying Rias and aligning herself with someone else. Konako blinked and shifted her attention back to the room, shaking off her thoughts. "Can we start the discussion now?" the blue-haired woman, an emissary from the church, interrupted, her tone professional and calm. She had been waiting for the right moment to speak. The room quieted as everyone nodded in agreement. The woman cleared her throat, her gaze turning serious. "The other day, 3 of the holy swords Excalibur were stolen from the church's care. It's urgent that we track them down, as they pose a significant threat if misused." "Excalibur?" Issei interjected, his curiosity piqued. "How many are there?" He looked between the 2 women from the church. The woman with twin-tailed hair glanced at him, a hint of sadness in her eyes. "Ise-kun, the true Excalibur was shattered in battle long ago. The swords that remain are replicas powerful, yes, but not the original." "Broken?" Issei echoed, wide-eyed. "Even that famous sword?" The exorcists exchanged a brief, knowing look. "Yes," the woman with twin tails confirmed. "It was a tragedy, but the remaining swords still hold tremendous power. If they fall into the wrong hands..." Rias stood, her face hardening with resolve. "Then we cannot waste any more time. We'll need to prepare ourselves for what's coming." She looked toward Konako, catching her eye for a brief moment. "Are you ready, Konako?" Konako nodded, but her heart weighed heavy with uncertainty. "What have I gotten myself into?" Unbeknownst to them, Satria was once again eavesdropping on the conversation from a hidden spot nearby. He did his best to stifle his laughter, though the sight and sound of their serious discussion were proving to be far too amusing. "Excalibur shattered?" he mused silently. "I wonder how Artoria will react when she hears about this." Satria could barely contain his amusement. The way they all spoke so seriously about it, how can they not see the humor in this? Look at her face. She's saying it with such conviction. Satria clutched his stomach, trying to suppress the laughter bubbling up inside him. Socket Parrot Anger. This is gold. He let out a snicker, silently congratulating himself on how thoroughly entertained he was. From the pieces of the broken Excalibur, 7 new blades were created through alchemy. This is one of them, Excalibur Destruction, the blue-haired exorcist said, unsheathing her sword with a proud look on her face. And mine is Excalibur Mimic, the twin-tailed exorcist chimed in, drawing her weapon as well. Meanwhile, Satria was rolling on the ground, unable to contain his laughter. She's proud of that sword. Satria thought, still giggling. It's about as valuable as a porn book in the dimensional chat shop. Ha 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 ha. You are horrible, my boy. You can't make fun of people like that, even if it's true, Fatalis scolded him, shaking her metaphorical head. Why do I hear someone laughing at us? The orange-haired twin-tail exorcist muttered, clearly offended. Damn you, devil! How dare you insult our weapon? The blue-haired exorcist growled, her glare seething with anger. It's not one of us laughing. Rias quickly defended her peerage. She glanced around at her team, but no one seemed to know where the laughing was coming from except Konako, who seemed to have an inkling. So, it really is Senpai's voice. Konako thought. He can listen and see us from outside. No wonder he's always so unpredictable. All right, let's get back to the topic, the blue-haired exorcist said, trying to regain composure. The church suspects Kokabeel. Kokabeel, one of the leaders of the fallen angels. Rias gasped, realizing the gravity of the situation. This is bad. A cadre of fallen angels operating in Kuaha? Should I inform my brother about this? What should I do? The blue-haired woman continued explaining that they wanted to handle the matter themselves, but Rias quickly rejected the idea, asserting her team's involvement. Meanwhile, an uncomfortable silence filled the room until the blue-haired exorcist turned to Asia. Are you Asia Argento? She asked, her tone dripping with disdain. I heard you were exiled. To think you became a devil. The twin-tailed exorcist sneered, adding, to think someone once called a saint would fall so low. In that case, I'd be better off beheading you right now in the name of God. She raised her sword menacingly toward Asia. Cut that shit out! Issei yelled, stepping forward to protect Asia. His fists clenched in fury, and he shot a glare at the exorcists. You can insult me, but you don't get to hurt her. What is she to you? The blue-haired exorcist sneered, eyeing Issei. She's my family, my friend, and my comrade, Issei snapped, his voice full of determination. I'll protect Asia with my life. If you lay a hand on her, I'll make sure you regret it. He's got guts, I'll give him that, Fatalis remarked, impressed by Issei's courage in standing up without hesitation. That was a good answer, Satria commented, watching intently. Now, let's see how this plays out. Is that a challenge to the church? A mere devil talking big, the blue-haired exorcist scoffed. Perfect timing, Kaiba interjected, stepping forward. I'll be your opponent. His eyes burned with intensity, clearly eager for a fight. Who are you? The exorcist asked dismissively. I'm your senpai, Kaiba replied with a smirk. Through a failed Kree continue. Ah, here we go. Sasuke wannabe moment, Satria chuckled, seeing the tension rise. Someone had to remind him about his lack of hate so he could get some character development. As he observed, Satria saw the group moving toward the door. Finally, some action, he muttered with a grin. To be continued. Chapter 55, Chapter 45. Prepare for a lesson. Now Issei and Kaiba are engaged in a tense battle with the two exorcists. Satria, perched atop a nearby building, watches with an unimpressed expression. So weak, he mutters to himself, his tone dripping with disdain. If Esteth were here, she'd probably say something like, weaklings talk too much and act too little. And she'd be right. His eyes narrow as Issei suddenly makes one of his infamous perverted faces, his mind clearly plotting something absurd. Oh boy, here it comes, Satria sighs. Early game Issei never fails to make me cringe. As expected, Issei activates his signature skill, Explosion, his hand glowing with energy as he lunges toward the twin-tailed exorcist with a perverted grin plastered across his face. Time to strip some armor or maybe more, Issei mutters gleefully. The exorcist deftly dodges his clumsy attack, leaving him stumbling forward. Before Issei can recover, Konako arrives with Asia in tow, her expression deadpan as usual. But just as Issei's outstretched hand threatens to collide with Konako, the air around them seems to shift unnaturally. Dark Platinum, stop time, a voice echoes, calm and authoritative. Time halts. The world freezes, the flapping of a bird's wings suspended mid-air, and even the leaves in the wind hang motionless. In this frozen moment, Satria casually steps in, delivering a sharp kick to Issei's face that sends him flying backward. With equal ease, he scoops Konako into his arms, cradling her as though she were a delicate treasure. Time will continue now, Satria declares, snapping his fingers. The world resumes its flow. Ugh! What the hell? Issei groans as he crashes into a nearby wall, clutching his face in pain. The twin-tailed exorcist looks around in confusion, trying to piece together how Issei ended up sprawled across the battlefield. Konako, nestled comfortably in Satria's arms, doesn't seem to mind the sudden intervention. Senpai, she purrs softly, nuzzling closer to him. Rias, however, is less than pleased. Her crimson eyes narrow as she glares at Satria, irritation evident on her face. You! What are you doing here? She demands, her voice a mixture of frustration and exasperation. Satria smirks, his tone as casual as ever. Oh, nothing much. Just saving your little cat from being groped by pervertmen over there. Satria, holding Konako securely in his arms, looks down at her with a calm yet protective expression. His voice echoes in her mind through his telepathic ability. Sorry for stepping into this, kitten, but I couldn't just stand by. I won't let any man other than me see your naked body. That guy almost succeeded with his perverted technique, and as your gentleman, I can't tolerate such disrespect toward my beloved kitten. Konako's cheeks instantly flush a deep crimson. His straightforward words make her heart race, and she struggles to compose herself. Despite everything, being in his arms feels comforting, a warmth reminiscent of the morning sun, soothing every anxiety within her. Meanwhile, Satria turns his attention to Rias, his expression suddenly serious. You want to know my true reason for being here, Gremory? His tone, now grave, shifts the atmosphere in the room. Even the two exorcists, previously caught up in the fight, turn their attention to the mysterious newcomer. Rias narrows her eyes at him. Yes, tell me. Why are you here? Satria pauses dramatically, ensuring all eyes are on him. Then, with the utmost sincerity, he says. My reason is, I got lost on the path of life. And then, a black cat crossed my way and led me here. There's a beat of silence before nearly everyone facepalms or sweat drops at his response. Are you serious right now? Rias yells, her frustration boiling over. At that moment, Issei, still rubbing his aching face, finally stands up and spots the new figure. Wait. You. Shin-san. What are you even doing here? Ignoring Issei, Satria leans down to Konako again, speaking softly in her mind. Are you thirsty, Konako-chan? Want something to drink? Konako shyly shakes her head, though her face remains red. You're lost then, Satria teases, gently setting her down before walking away casually. Moments later, he reappears holding a glass of iced lemon tea, complete with condensation trickling down the glass. You. Since when did you have that iced tea in your hand? Answer me, Shin. Rias demands, both bewildered and annoyed at his casual demeanor amidst the tense situation. Satria shrugs nonchalantly, taking a sip of his drink. Since just now, obviously. He strolls over to a nearby bench and sits down leisurely, setting the tea beside him. Now, don't mind me. Go ahead and continue your little battle, kiddos. I brought snacks and a drink just to enjoy this exclusive preview of your fated combat. The room fell into a tense silence as the exorcists and Rias's peerage stared at the man sitting casually with his iced tea. The blue-haired exorcist's eyes narrowed. Who is this man? Is he part of your peerage or something like that? Rias and her peerage exchanged looks, shaking their heads. No, he's not one of us, Rias clarified, her tone heavy with annoyance. He has no manners. Treating our sacred duel as a mere spectacle is a mockery to the church. The blue-haired woman glared daggers at Satria, who remained utterly unfazed, sipping his tea without a care in the world. Konako, standing quietly by the side, was at a loss. Her boyfriend was unpredictable, his attitude shifting from serious to playful in an instant. Despite knowing him better than anyone here, even she couldn't predict what he'd do next. Meanwhile, Kaiba's curiosity was piqued. Impossible, he muttered to himself, his brows furrowing. I didn't even see him move, and suddenly he had tea in his hand. What kind of power is that? The twin-tailed, orange-haired exorcist stepped forward, her brows knitted in suspicion. You're not a devil, are you? Satria gave her a small nod, acknowledging her observation. Then who are you? She pressed. Answer us. We deserve to know who you are and why you're here. Satria turned his head lazily toward her, his sharp eyes glinting with amusement. You want to know my identity? Yes. Tell us truthfully, she demanded, her tone firm. If you do, we'll overlook your rude behavior. After all, the church teaches us to forgive lost sheep and guide them to the right path. A smirk formed on Satria's lips as he stood up, the aura around him subtly intensifying. His voice dropped, carrying a weight that made the air feel heavier. Then I have no choice but to introduce myself properly. I think it's time you all learned my true identity. The room stiffened as everyone, including Rias and her peerage, held their breath. His real identity. Rias thought, her eyes narrowing. Part of her wanted to interrupt, but another part of her was intrigued. Perhaps this moment could reveal whether this man was an ally or a potential enemy. Kaiba, on the other hand, couldn't stop analyzing. What kind of power does he have? Even I couldn't track his movements when he grabbed that iced tea. Who is he really? The exorcists, sharing a glance, readied themselves for anything. Finally, Satria broke the silence. He straightened his posture and cleared his throat before speaking with a dramatic flair. My name is Shidou Matsumi. But you can call me Shin. I am 16 years old. I'm just an ordinary student you can find anywhere. I attend QA Academy and work part-time as a food blogger on WeTube. I always make sure to get home before 8 p.m. I always sleep in my bed by 10 p.m., ensuring I get a solid 8 hours of rest. Before sleeping, I usually cuddle with my girlfriend. My dream? Not your business. My likes and dislikes? Also not your business. Nice to meet you. Silence. Everyone in the room froze, their mouths slightly agape. The tension dissipated instantly, replaced by a mix of disbelief, confusion, and sheer exasperation. Rias's eye twitched, her voice trembling with restrained fury. You're joking, right? The twin-tailed exorcist glared at him, her hands clenched into fists. You call that an introduction? What part of that is useful to us? The blue-haired exorcist, visibly flustered, stomped her foot. Do you think this is funny? You're wasting our time. Satria, completely unbothered, took another sip of his tea and leaned back on the bench. What? You asked for my identity, and I gave it. Don't be so rude about it. Konako's cheeks flushed as she listened to her boyfriend's bizarre introduction. Despite the absurdity of his words, her heart couldn't help but twist in jealousy at the mention of another woman. She clenched her fists tightly. I want moments like that with him too, she thought, feeling a pang of possessiveness. Meanwhile, Rias's frustration was at its boiling point. That does not explain anything, you bastard, she yelled, her composure slipping as her crimson aura flared slightly. Drake, the Red Dragon Emperor residing in Issei's sacred gear, let out a disappointed sigh. I thought he was going to reveal his true secret. What a letdown. Still, this man is intriguing. He's unlike any I've encountered in my long existence. Issei glanced at Satria, scratching the back of his head. Shin-san loves to mess with us, hey? It's like he enjoys making us more curious about him. Satria stretched casually, completely unfazed by the mounting tension in the room. Well, if that's all, I'll be heading home now. He turned to leave, only to find his path blocked by Rias and her peerage. Rias pointed at him with authority, her patience long gone. Don't let him escape. Akeno, Kaiba, Asia, Issei, Konako, we're capturing him right now. Konako stepped forward, panic flashing in her usually calm eyes. Bucko, can we not do this? There's no need for violence. We can try a more peaceful approach. She glanced at Satria, silently pleading for him to do something. In response, he gave her a confident wink, as if to say he had everything under control. Asia clutched her hands together, looking worried. I agree with Konako-san. Shin-sama is a good person. He's never harmed us unless provoked. I don't want to see anyone get hurt. Issei hesitated, torn between loyalty to his king and his growing respect for Shin. Bucko, are you sure there's no other way? I mean, Shin-san hasn't actually done anything wrong. Can't we just talk this out? But Rias wasn't listening anymore. Her pride as a high-ranking devil had been trampled by Satria's casual attitude and refusal to take her seriously. She clenched her fists, her determination burning in her eyes. No. We must capture him and force him to reveal his secrets. There's no other way. Akeno, who had been silent until now, let out a playful laugh. Aira Shin-san has certainly stirred things up. This could be fun. Her sadistic side peeked through as she licked her lips, ready to join in on the action. Kaiba unsheathed his sword, his expression calm yet serious. If this is Bucko's decision, then I will carry it out. Both exorcists raised their legendary swords, their eyes gleaming with resolve. Let us assist you in capturing him. Consider it payment for allowing us entry into your territory, Zenobia declared confidently, her grip on Excalibur destruction firm. It's not fair, though, Satria interjected with mock horror, raising his hands defensively. A bunch of elite devils and exorcists against a normal high school student like me? Is this some new kind of bullying? He even added a shaky quiver to his voice for effect. Rias smirked, feeling triumphant. If you don't want to get hurt, then surrender and tell us who you really are. Drake sighed from within Issei's sacred gear. Partner, this guy's acting is abysmal. Are you sure you want to fight him? Something about him feels off. Issei swallowed hard, sweat beading on his forehead. I don't know what to do anymore. I'm torn. Should I fight Shin-san or stand aside? Zenobia took a step forward, her blade gleaming. No hard feelings, but we will defeat you. Show me why the devils are cautious of you. She and Irina positioned themselves to flank Satria, their movements precise and tactical. This is your last chance. Rias called out, her crimson aura flaring brighter. Surrender, or we'll use force to subdue you. Satria sighed theatrically, brushing non-existent dust off his jacket. Fine, let's play a little, shall we? But remember, you asked for this. In an instant, Satria disappeared, his speed creating a swirling cloud of dust that obscured the entire area. What the? Rias exclaimed, shielding her face with her arm. Where is he? Akeno chuckled softly, summoning sparks of lightning in her hands. Ara, he loves playing dirty, doesn't he? Like a mischievous little boy. Kaiba scanned the area cautiously, his sword at the ready. Konako-chan, can you sense him? Konako's ears twitched as she focused, but her expression grew puzzled. I can't detect his scent anymore. Where did he go? Zenobia tensed, tightening her grip on her sword. Irina, stick close. Watch my back. I don't like this. Irina nodded, positioning herself behind Zenobia. Agreed. Something feels wrong. Drake let out a low hum from within Issei. I'm intrigued. What will he do now? Let's see what surprises he has in store for us. Issei visibly trembled, clutching his sacred gear tightly. Don't say that. It's Shin-san we're talking about. Whatever he's planning is going to be terrifying. Kaiba dashed forward, his sword glowing with energy, his form fluid and confident. You won't toy with us anymore, he declared, slashing randomly toward Sandstorm with a series of precise strikes. But Satria didn't flinch. His movements were minimal, efficient stepping, pivoting, and weaving through Kaiba's attacks like water. With a calculated spin, Satria caught Kaiba's wrist mid-strike and twisted it sharply, forcing the sword to clatter to the ground. Before Kaiba could react, Satria's knee slammed into his stomach, sending him sprawling to the floor. Gasping for air, Kaiba tried to rise, but Satria loomed over him, placing a boot on his chest. Speed without strategy is just wasted effort, Satria said coldly before stepping away, leaving Kaiba incapacitated. Akeno, furious at Kaiba's swift defeat, summoned a crackling storm of lightning in her hands. Ara, you're impressive, but let's see how you handle this. She unleashed a barrage of lightning bolts, each one crackling with deadly energy. Satria didn't dodge. Instead, he stood still, letting the electricity race toward him. The room flashed with blinding light, but when it cleared, Satria remained standing, unscathed. Is that all? He asked with a smirk. Before Akeno could process what happened, Satria was behind her. A precise chop to the back of her neck left her collapsing to the ground, unconscious. The exorcists, now infuriated and desperate, attacked in tandem. Zenovia's Excalibur destruction tore through the air with raw power, while Irina's Excalibur mimic extended like a whip, aiming to ensnare Satria. Satria ducked under Irina's strike and closed the distance to Zenovia in an instant. He caught her sword mid-swing with his bare hand, stopping it cold. This is Excalibur? It feels underwhelming, he said mockingly before twisting the blade out of her grip and tossing it aside. With a fluid motion, he delivered a spinning kick to her chest, sending her flying into a wall. She slumped to the ground, groaning in pain. Irina lashed out again, but Satria caught the mimic blade mid-strike. He yanked it forward, pulling Irina off balance, then swept her legs out from under her. She hit the ground hard, her weapon clattering away. Your faith blinds you to your weaknesses, he said, stepping over her fallen form. Issei, trembling but resolute, activated his sacred gear. Boosted gear. I won't let you hurt my friends anymore, he shouted, his gauntlet glowing with power. Satria tilted his head, amused. Bold words, but power without control is just chaos. Issei charged, his punches enhanced by his sacred gear. Satria dodged effortlessly, his movements like a shadow. With a swift uppercut, Satria sent Issei flying backward, the boy's momentum carrying him into a table that shattered on impact. As Issei tried to stand, Satria loomed over him, grabbing the front of his shirt and lifting him effortlessly. You have potential, but potential means nothing without discipline, he said before tossing Issei aside like a ragdoll. The field was eerily quiet now, the groans of her defeated allies the only sound. Rhea stood alone, trembling. Her crimson magic flared around her, but her hands shook as she summoned it. Satria turned to her, his expression unreadable. "It's just you now, Gremory. Still think you can win?" Rhea's tried to project confidence, but her voice wavered. "I won't let you humiliate my peerage like this." She unleashed a massive blast of destruction magic, the energy roaring toward Satria. But he sidestepped it effortlessly, the attack crashing into the wall behind him. Before Rhea could attack again, Satria was in front of her. His hand shot out, gripping her wrist tightly. Her magic fizzled out as she gasped in fear. "You're out of your depth," he said, his voice low and menacing. "Your pride blinds you to reality." The atmosphere in the field grew heavy with tension as Asia clung to Satria's leg, tears streaming down her face. "Please stop this, Shin-sama. We're sorry for bothering you," she cried, her voice trembling. Konako stepped forward, her normally stoic face softening with concern. "It's enough, senpai. You've already won." Satria turned slightly, his piercing gaze locking onto the small cat girl. For a moment, his intense aura faltered, but his demeanor quickly shifted back to cold resolve. Rhea, trembling and visibly shaken, finally spoke. Why are you doing this to us? You cruel man!" Satria clicked his tongue and shook his head. "Are you dense, tomato head? You're the one who pushed this situation to the brink. Now, you'll face the consequences." His voice dropped, radiating a bloodlust so palpable that the field seemed to darken. "Prepare yourself, Rhea Gremory." Satria vanished into the shadows, his voice echoing ominously as he began to count. 3. Asia collapsed to the floor, fainting from the sheer pressure of his aura. Konako and Issei struggled to remain conscious, their knees buckling. 2. Rhea fell to her knees, tears welling in her eyes as the weight of her failure crushed her. "Stop! Stop!" she screamed, tears streaking her cheeks. "I'm sorry, okay? Please forgive me. I promise never to bother you again." The bloodlust receded, and the suffocating atmosphere lifted. Satria emerged from the shadows, his calm expression betraying none of the malice from moments ago. Fatalis's teasing voice echoed in his mind. My. What would your Bunda think of her adorable son turning into such a bully? Do you think she'd applaud or clobber you?" Satria shuddered at the thought, muttering to himself, "Let's not talk about her." Turning his attention back to Rhea, he crossed his arms. "See? Apologizing wasn't so hard. But your mistake isn't so easily forgiven. You still owe me, Gremory." Rhea hesitated, her voice quivering. "What do you want?" Satria's eyes gleamed as he leaned in, his voice dripping with mockery. "Your soul. Or perhaps the soul of one of your peerage members. Choose wisely, Rhea Gremory, or I have you all as part of my collection." Everyone froze. The silence was deafening as the weight of his words sank in. You want our souls? What kind of monster are you?" Rhea stammered, her body trembling. Yet, after a moment, she closed her eyes and took a deep breath. "If that's the price, then take mine. This is my fault, and I won't let anyone else pay for my mistakes." Konako's voice broke as tears streamed down her cheeks. "Senpai, please stop this madness. You're not this kind of person." Before Satria could respond, Akeno pushed herself to her feet, her body trembling but her voice steady. "No, Rhea. Let me take your place. It's my duty as your queen to protect you." Kaiba, still bleeding but determined, stood with the help of his sword. "No. I'll take the punishment. As your knight, it's my duty to sacrifice myself for you." Rhea, tears streaming down her face, paralyzed both Akeno and Kaiba with a spell. "I'm sorry, but I can't let you do that." She turned to Satria, her voice steady but full of sorrow. Take my soul. Just promise me you'll spare them. The exorcists glared at Satria, hatred burning in their eyes, but they remained silent, powerless to intervene. Suddenly, Satria burst out laughing. Wah ha 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 ha! You're all too much. This is priceless. Everyone stared at him, stunned. Satria composed himself, his tone shifting to one of seriousness. Relax, Gremory. This was a test. You passed. Rias blinked, her voice trembling with disbelief. A test. Satria nodded. A lesson, if you will. A king must never sacrifice themselves. Your people rely on you to lead. Without a leader, a kingdom crumbles. While it's noble to want to protect them, it's their job to protect you. Learn from this. He extended his hand, and a warm, golden light enveloped them. The injuries of everyone present vanished, replaced by a soothing warmth. What is this? Akeno whispered, staring at her healed wounds. Zenobia touched her chest, feeling no pain. It's so warm. Kaiba flexed his hands, stunned. I'm fully healed. Satria turned to leave, his back to the group. Consider this a free lesson. Next time, think twice before challenging someone you don't understand. As he walked away, Rias called out, her voice shaky. Who are you? Satria stopped but didn't turn around. Just a passing Kamen rider. Don't forget what I said, Tomato Head. You have a good friend, Konako. Sorry for all of this. As my apology, I'll grant you one wish. Just tell me later, okay? I'll do whatever I can to fulfill it, my love, Satria whispered to her telepathically before vanishing from the scene. Konako's breath hitched. She tried to keep her composure, but the romantic tone in his voice sent her heart into overdrive. I can't keep up with him. If he keeps doing this, I might not be able to hold back anymore, she thought, her face burning as she pressed her hand to her chest. The rest of the group groggily regained their bearings. Where did he go? Rias asked, scanning the room, her voice shaky from the lingering terror. Irina noticed Zenobia frantically patting herself down. Zenobia, what's wrong? Her eyes widened in fury. That bastard! He stole my Excalibur! Kaiba chuckled, his smirk growing wider. For my part, I think it's better if that cursed weapon is gone forever. Zenobia glared daggers at him. What did you say, you puny devil? Kaiba simply turned away, ignoring her fuming outrage. Meanwhile, Drake's voice echoed in Issei's mind, laced with amusement. What a peculiar man your friend is. In all my long life, I've never encountered someone like him. Issei sighed. Tell me about it. I don't know if I should be scared of him or try to learn from him. Drake's tone shifted, becoming uncharacteristically wistful. That power of his, whatever it was that healed you, it left me trembling. I don't just mean from awe. Imagine being pampered by someone with abilities like that. What a dream! Issei's face twisted in confusion. Pampered? You're a dragon, not a house cat. Drake ignored his comment, her voice turning desperate. I don't usually hope for miracles, but someone, anyone, please release me from this prison so I can meet him face to face. Just once. Issei groaned, burying his face in his hands. Now even my dragon wants to switch sides. Konako remained silent, her hand unconsciously brushing her lips as she fought to calm her thundering heart. Deep down, she couldn't deny it anymore. Satria was much more than just her boyfriend. He was someone she was falling for, and his offer to grant her a wish lingered in her mind. What should I wish for? She wondered, already dreading and anticipating the next time they would meet. Satria Mansion. Kyoto, Japan. I'm back. Satria stepped into his home, greeted by the familiar warmth of his surroundings. Almost immediately, he heard the sound of tiny footsteps rushing toward him. It was his little Vaporeon, her sleek form radiating joy. "Hey, sweetheart, have you been a good girl today?" Satria knelt down, gently caressing her face with affection. Before he could say more, a playful yet dangerous voice called out. "Welcome back, Danasama, would you like dinner? A bath? Or perhaps, me?" Kiyohime appeared out of nowhere, wrapping herself around him in a snug embrace. Her serpentine tail coiled around his torso, but her playful smile quickly twisted into a frown. She leaned closer, sniffing him with a suspicious glare. "Nay, you smell like a cat. Care to explain, Danasama?" Her tail tightened, and Satria gasped for air. Can you release me first?" Satria choked out. Hard to talk, or breathe. Kiyohime loosened her grip but kept her eyes fixed on him. "Now, explain yourself." Taking a deep breath, Satria raised his hands in a gesture of surrender. Okay. So, I have this junior, right? Her name is Konako Tujao. She's a Nikomata with a difficult past. She's been through a lot. And, well, you know I'm a huge fan of cats and reptiles. I couldn't just leave her be. She reminded me of a cat I had in my past life. Plus, she's adorable, and I couldn't ignore her. So, I thought, maybe we could welcome her into our family? Pretty please." He gave Kiyohime his best puppy eyes, hoping to melt her heart. Before Kiyohime could respond, another voice joined the fray. "Oh, someone told me she's just a junior. And now look at you becoming a playboy, hey." Valyana teased, slipping her arms around him from behind. Satria felt his stomach drop as Kiyohime's expression darkened. "You." She pointed an accusing finger at him. "Are grounded. No more games, no more cuddles, and you're sleeping on the couch until I say otherwise." "But be sure to introduce this kitten to us properly," Kiyohime interrupted, her tail flicking with irritation. "I'll decide after meeting her." Satria sighed in defeat. "Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your mercy." "Good. Now, Valyana-san, help me prepare dinner." "Danasama, go take a bath before the food is ready." Valyana smirked, patting his cheek. "Be a good boy, hubby. Maybe she'll forgive you." After showering, Satria peeked into the kitchen, where his wives were preparing dinner. He couldn't help but admire them. "Kiyohime, are you still mad at me?" He slipped behind her and hugged her gently. "You smell amazing, by the way. The scent of a masterful chef. You're incredible, my love." Kiyohime's lips twitched into a small smile, but before she could respond, Valyana cleared her throat loudly. "Hubby, stop distracting us and wait outside like a good boy," Valyana scolded, her eyes meeting Kiyohime's in a silent exchange. "Be strong, Kiyohime-san," Valyana's gaze seemed to say. "Don't let this idiot wrap you around his finger." Kiyohime tried to resist, but when she glanced at Satria's earnest smile and pleading eyes, her resolve began to crumble. "I can't, Valyana-san. Danasama is too adorable." Satria noticed their silent communication and tilted his head in confusion. He smiling mischievously, he shifted his attention to Valyana. "And the mighty white dragon emperor, wearing an apron and cooking for me in my kitchen? Sometimes I wonder how I got so lucky to have a strong, beautiful, and independent woman like you by my side." He pressed a kiss to the back of her neck, earning a surprised gasp. "Ha, you're such an idiot," Valyana muttered, her cheeks tinged pink. "But I love you too. Now get out before we burn dinner." Laughing, Satria stepped back, raising his hands in surrender. Fine, I'll leave you lovely ladies alone. Have I told you today how much I adore you both?" "Yes," they chorused, glaring at him. All right. I'm going." He chuckled, retreating to the living room. His wives were truly a handful, but he wouldn't trade them for anything. To be continued. Chapter 56, Side Story, The Amazing Spider-Man, Part 9. New York City had finally returned to its normal bustling self. The once ruined streets had been restored, and life carried on as if the chaos never happened. Yet, everyone still spoke of the unknown heroes, Patronus and Black Flash, the two who not only defeated the invaders but also saved countless lives. Statues had been erected in their honor in Central Park, symbols of gratitude and respect for the mysterious saviors who vanished as quickly as they appeared. Many tried to uncover their identities, but every search led to dead ends. Despite the city's peaceful surface, a nagging feeling tugged at the back of my mind. Something was coming. Something big. But I couldn't focus on that right now. No, I had an even bigger problem to deal with. I was surrounded. Aunt May stood at the forefront, her disappointed gaze boring into me. On either side of me sat Gwen Stacy and Baobhan Sith, each offering their own defenses on my behalf. Peter Benjamin Parker, Aunt May began, her voice calm but sharp, since when have you become a womanizer? I certainly don't remember raising you to be this kind of man. Aunt May, please don't be mad, Gwen said quickly, her voice soft but firm. We've already talked about this. It's not what it looks like. Peter didn't betray anyone, we agreed to share him. Baobhan Sith, ever composed yet possessive, wrapped her arms around me. Mother-in-law, she said sweetly, her crimson eyes softening, Peter is someone we both love dearly. We're not competing, we're sharing him. I already consider Gwen my sister-wife. Please don't misunderstand. I winced, feeling Aunt May's disapproval grow sharper. Mother-in-law? Sister-wife? They weren't exactly helping my case here. I stammered, desperately searching for words. They're both very important to me. Rejecting one of them would have hurt them deeply, and I couldn't do that. Peter, Aunt May cut in, her voice still stern, do you hear yourself right now? You're saying you chose this? You're seriously okay with this arrangement? I took a deep breath and looked her directly in the eyes. I know it's unusual, Aunt May. But I promise you I'll take care of them. I'll make sure they're happy. I'm not being irresponsible. I chose this path because I love them both, and I won't let them down. Gwen smiled softly, touched by my words, while Baobhan beamed like she'd already won this argument. Aunt May pinched the bridge of her nose, clearly trying to process everything. Even if if I accept this relationship, what about the world around you? Society isn't exactly forgiving of things like this. You do know polygamy is illegal, right? How do you plan to explain this to everyone else? That's true, Gwen admitted quietly. It won't be easy. And another thing, Aunt May continued, turning her gaze back to me. Are you ready for the responsibility this brings? Loving one person takes work, but two? Equal treatment, emotional support, and don't get me started on the financial side of things. Do you have any idea how much effort it will take to care for two families? Her words hit me like a webbed punch to the gut, but I didn't flinch. I straightened my posture and met her stare with as much confidence as I could muster. I'm ready, Aunt May. I'll do whatever it takes. I'll work harder than ever to give them a happy, comfortable life. And marriage? Aunt May pressed. You're not getting out of this without an explanation. How do you plan to marry two women when the law doesn't allow it? I've got a friend who can help, I said, smiling nervously. He's got connections. He said he could make it official in a way that won't cause any trouble. Aunt May raised an eyebrow. A friend? Who's this friend? I hesitated. His name's Satria. Her eyes narrowed dangerously. Satria? So he's the one who corrupted you into this nonsense? And no, it's not like that. I stammered, waving my hands defensively. I want to meet this Satria, Aunt May said firmly. Anyone who convinced my pure, sweet boy to pull something like this deserves a serious talking to. And Peter, don't you dare associate with that weirdo again. Gwen and Baopon exchanged amused glances, while I slumped back in defeat. This wasn't going well. Sure, Aunt May, I muttered, already dreading that meeting. Satria could talk his way out of just about anything, but even he wouldn't escape this. Baopon grinned mischievously and leaned closer. Don't worry, Peter. I'll make sure mother-in-law loves me soon enough. Gwen nodded with a smile. We'll win her over. Trust us. Aunt May sighed heavily, shaking her head as she muttered to herself. Polygamy, sister wives, what in the world has my boy gotten himself into? Side end. Chapter 57, Chapter 46. Glimpse of Future. Satria stood in the center of a sprawling training facility in uninhabited island, his focus sharp as he prepared to push his limits. The air around him crackled faintly, a subtle manifestation of his speed force energy. This was no ordinary power, it demanded precision, stamina, and a deep understanding of its intricacies. His goal today? To master the speed force and unlock its full potential. Satria darted across the vast expanse of the training grounds, a blur of motion leaving trails of residual energy in his wake. He'd set up an intricate series of hurdles, walls, and twisting paths to mimic real-world scenarios. Faster, he muttered to himself. Adapt, improvise. As he zigzagged through the course, drones zipped into his path, projecting holographic obstacles that forced him to make split-second decisions. He sidestepped one, flipped over another, and slid under a low barrier. Time slowed in his perception, giving him the clarity to calculate every movement. To anyone watching, he was a mere streak of light, a force of nature moving at impossible speeds. Look at him go, Valyana muttered, crossing her arms. Always so dramatic. It's like he's auditioning for a hero movie or something. Kiyohime tilted her head, her golden eyes fixed on Satria as he blurred through his speed drills. Danasama works so hard. It's admirable. The next stage required precision. Satria stood before a solid steel wall, his hands glowing faintly with kinetic energy. He concentrated, vibrating his molecules at a frequency that would allow him to phase through the barrier. Calm your mind. Match the frequency. He closed his eyes and focused. The hum of his energy grew louder, and his hand began to sink into the steel like it was water. One wrong calculation, and he'd risk serious injury or worse. But he couldn't afford fear. With a deep breath, he stepped forward, his entire body phasing through the wall. Emerging on the other side unscathed, he grinned. Getting better. The training arena shifted, activating the superspeed simulator. The environment transformed into a bustling cityscape, complete with simulated pedestrians, vehicles, and chaos. Satria's task was to save as many simulated citizens as possible within a 3-minute window. He bolted into action, weaving through traffic and carrying people to safety. A simulated bus careened out of control, heading toward a crowd. Satria dashed forward, creating a vortex to redirect the vehicle's path. Time slowed as he adjusted his positioning, pulling a child out of harm's way at the last possible second. When the simulation ended, he collapsed onto the ground, panting heavily. Need more endurance, he muttered, wiping sweat from his brow. He doesn't know when to stop. Look at him pushing himself like that. Kiyohime frowned slightly, her protective instincts flaring. Maybe I should intervene. He needs to take care of himself. His health is. Valyana raised a hand, cutting her off. Relax, Kiyohime-san. This is his thing. Let him have his fun. The final phase of his training involved manipulating time itself, a feat that required a delicate balance of power and focus. Standing in the middle of a glowing circle edged with runic symbols, Satria closed his eyes and tapped into the speed force's deeper layers. The world around him began to shift, leaves froze mid-fall, the hum of distant machinery slowed, and his own heartbeat became a steady, deliberate rhythm. He raised his hand, channeling the energy to accelerate the flow of time for a nearby plant. In seconds, it bloomed, withered, and returned to seed. Control, not force, he reminded himself. As Satria cooled down, he scribbled notes in a small journal. He had big plans for his Speed Force training tools and gadgets that would complement his abilities. Speed Stabilizer Suit, a suit designed to absorb the strain of high-speed movements, minimizing wear on his body. Chrono Tether, a device to anchor him in one timeline while manipulating others. Kinetic Energy Storage Units, tools to store excess Speed Force energy for emergencies. He smiled at the possibilities, but there was still one more trump card in his arsenal, the power of Ultraman Cosmos. Satria looked up at the blue sky, his thoughts drifting to his newest ability. Ultraman Cosmos's power not only amplified his physical and mental capabilities but also mitigated his metabolism strain from using the Speed Force. No more burning out, he murmured. I can use my full power without holding back. With Cosmos's influence, his recovery times shortened, his endurance skyrocketed, and his body adapted to the rigorous demands of the Speed Force. He was no longer just a speedster, he was a force of nature, a man capable of reshaping the fabric of reality if needed. As he finished his training, a sense of excitement coursed through him. He wasn't just mastering his abilities, he was preparing for a future where he could protect the ones he loved without hesitation. And this was only the beginning. He heard soft footsteps approaching and looked up to see Kiyohime and Valyana descending from the observation deck, carrying a tray with snacks and drinks. You must be starving, Kiyohime said softly, kneeling beside him and offering a cup of cold water. Her expression was tender but tinged with concern. Valyana smirked, handing him a plate of neatly arranged onigiri. Thought you might need this before you keel over, Mr. Hero. Satria chuckled, taking the water and food gratefully. Ah, my beautiful Dorogonus. What would I do without you? Kiyohime's tail swayed behind her as she smiled. You'd probably collapse somewhere and starve, she teased lightly. Valyana crossed her arms, raising an eyebrow. By the way, Satria, when did you build this whole facility? We didn't even notice until recently. Satria took a bite of the onigiri and smirked, leaning back against the ground as if the answer were obvious. Oh, you know. Just in my free time. It's a piece of cake for someone as cool as me. Both women stared at him for a moment, and then they burst into laughter. Silly Danasama, Kiyohime said, her laughter as light as bells. Only you would say something like that. Valyana chuckled, shaking her head. You're ridiculous, you know that? Acting all cool after flopping against that wall earlier. Hey! Satria protested, feigning indignation. That was a minor misstep. Even geniuses make mistakes sometimes. Kiyohime gently wiped the sweat from his brow with a handkerchief, her eyes warm. We know, Danasama. But that's why we love you. Valyana plopped down beside him, casually nudging his shoulder. Yet. You're cool, all right. Just don't let it get to your head, okay? Satria grinned, looking between the two of them. Don't worry, ladies. I've got the coolest family to keep me grounded. Kiyohime and Valyana exchanged a glance before shaking their heads, smiling. Their silly, hard-working husband always knew how to make their hearts lighter. As they sat together, sharing snacks and laughter, the intensity of training faded into the background, replaced by the warmth of love and camaraderie. The peaceful tranquility of the forest was shattered by the sounds of battle. Trees swayed violently as shockwaves rippled through the area. High above, birds scattered into the sky, their chirps drowned out by a fierce exchange of power. Keep it up, princess! You almost had me! Satria called out, his voice teasing yet calm. A smirk tugged at the corners of his lips as he darted effortlessly around the battlefield, a blur of motion. Stop running, bastard! Face me like a man! Valyana shouted, her voice heavy with exertion. She stood amidst the chaos, her balance breaker armor glowing with fierce energy, her breaths coming in short, labored gasps. Satria shrugged, his movements casual and almost mocking. It's not about running, my dear. It's about strategy. If you can't catch your opponent, then what you must do is adapt. Think of another way. That's how you grow. Valyana gritted her teeth, her frustration palpable. I don't need your lectures. Albion's voice echoed in her mind, wary and somber. He's toying with us, partner. This man is terrifyingly efficient. When serious, he doesn't fight to prolong a battle, he fights to end it before his opponent even realizes they've lost. Valyana growled, clenching her fists. I don't care how fast he is. I'll never back down. I'm the White Dragon Emperor. Satria stopped abruptly, leaning lazily against a tree as if her proclamation amused him. And that pride of yours, while admirable, can be your undoing. Pride is meaningless in a real battle. What matters is survival and victory. Live today, win tomorrow. Cowardice or bravery, history only remembers the victor. Valyana's glare could have burned holes through him. Run away? You want me to run away from a fight? Why not? Satria countered smoothly. Live to fight another day. No shame in retreating if it means you come back stronger. This isn't about ego, it's about winning. But Valyana's pride burned too fiercely to heed his advice. She snarled, her resolve unwavering. You're wrong. I'll face my enemy head-on, no matter the cost. Satria chuckled softly, shaking his head. You don't have to agree with me. In fact, I respect that you don't. A blind follower is no better than a puppet. Stay true to yourself, Valyana. That's what makes you you. Just remember, being stubborn doesn't mean you can't learn. Valyana's frustration was tempered slightly by his words. Though she wouldn't admit it, his wisdom struck a chord within her. Satria's odd blend of arrogance and humility made him the enigma she cherished most. But her respect didn't dampen her fighting spirit. Enough talk. Show me your real strength, Satria. Satria's smirk widened, and for the first time, he stood up straight, slipping his hands into his pockets. Very well, my dear. You've earned this. Albion's voice filled Valyana's mind again, tinged with caution. Be careful, partner. He's serious now. Perfect, Valyana muttered. She struck a dramatic pose, energy flaring around her as she began her chant. I, who am about to awaken. I am the heavenly dragon who has taken the principles of supremacy from God. I envy the infinite, and I pursue the dream. I shall become the white dragon of supremacy. And I shall take you to the limits of white paradise. Her balance breaker surged to new heights as she entered Juggernaut Drive. The ground beneath her cracked, and the air itself seemed to warp from the sheer power radiating off her form. Satria's eyes gleamed with excitement. You've got guts, I'll give you that. But let me teach you something about speed. He vibrated his body, becoming a shimmering blur. The faster you move, the greater the force behind your attack. And me? I'm faster than light itself. Ready to taste what that means? Valyana charged at him, her armor glowing like a blazing comet. Bring it on. She swung her fist, aiming directly for him, but before she could even blink, Satria was gone. Too slow. A devastating punch landed squarely in her stomach. The impact sent shockwaves through her armor, and her breath left her in a sharp gasp. Wah! She tried again, swinging wildly, but another blow struck her side. This time, her knees buckled. No way, she thought, her vision blurring. His punches are so heavy. I can't even see him move. How? No way, our gap is no way this far. Her legs gave out, and she collapsed to the ground. The mighty White Dragon Emperor, brought low in just 2 strikes. Albion was silent for a long moment, his shock palpable. Finally, he spoke. What kind of monster are you, Satria? Satria knelt beside Valyana, gently brushing a stray lock of hair from her face. You're incredible, my dear. But raw power isn't enough. You need control, strategy, and flexibility. He smiled fondly. And for what it's worth, I'm proud of you. As he checked his dimensional chat, a notification popped up, plus 7,000 coins for defeating Valyana. He groaned internally. It's like I'm farming her for rewards. Poor girl. From within the chat, Fatalis's voice rumbled, half amused, half sympathetic. Oof. That's rough. My condolences, Valyana. Satria chuckled softly before lifting Valyana into his arms. Let's get you home, princess. You did well today. Even unconscious, she looked peaceful in his embrace. As he carried her back toward Kiahim's residence, the forest grew quiet once more, bearing witness to the lesson imparted and the bond that grew stronger with each battle. After ensuring Valyana was safely healed and tucked into her room, Satria climbed onto the roof of his house, basking in the serene morning air of Kuahu. The faint sound of birds chirping and the soft glow of the sunrise over the quiet town provided a stark contrast to the chaos earlier. Leaning back, he gazed at the sky. Fatalis. Hey? What now, pup? The ever-grumpy dragon spirit grumbled. Satria smirked mischievously. You ever wonder about our future? Don't you think it'd be interesting to catch a glimpse of what lies ahead? Fatalis's voice immediately sharpened with disapproval. Don't. Just don't even think about it. You know what tampering with the timeline could do. Do you want to mess up everything we've built? I know, Satria replied lazily, waving off her concerns. But Kmin, we've never tested this ability before. Isn't now the perfect time? Fatalis groaned audibly. And why, pray tell, would you want to see the future? Because I'm bored. Bored. Idiot. Fine. Do as you wish, but if this backfires, don't blame me. And don't you dare drag me into this nonsense. Despite her protests, Fatalis couldn't help but feel a spark of curiosity. Deep down, she was eager to see what the future held too. Without further hesitation, Satria activated his speed force. The world blurred into streaks of color as he pushed himself through time. The landscape shifted, twisting into new forms, until he finally came to a stop. Only, something was wrong. Where the hell is my house? Satria stared in disbelief at the empty plot before him, now occupied by a cold, lifeless building. The air felt unfamiliar, heavier somehow. Before he could process the situation, a black-haired man with sharp eyes appeared. His aura radiated power. Boss? Is that you? What are you doing out here? Satria frowned. Boss? Who the hell are you? The black-haired man's demeanor changed instantly, his dragon aura flaring. You're not the boss? Then prepare to face the judgment, you imposter. He launched toward Satria, fists glowing with energy. Satria instinctively entered a battle stance, but before the attack could land, a towering, golden humanoid man appeared, radiating a warm, almost divine presence. Stand down. The boss already told us his past self might visit today. Did you forget, you idiot? The black-haired man halted mid-strike, looking embarrassed. Oh, right. My bad, senpai. The golden man turned to Satria, smiling apologetically. Forgive him, boss. He can be a bit hot-headed. Please, follow me. And stay close, the future is not a place for wandering. As they walked, Satria's eyes widened when a massive black-furred dog stirred from its slumber nearby. The beast sniffed the air before bounding toward him. Satria tensed, only for the dog to nuzzle against him affectionately. No way. I have this kind of pet in the future. Satria laughed, kneeling to rub its fur. You're such a good boy. I have to find you in my time and make sure we're best buds. The Golden Man chuckled. My apologies, but we're not allowed to share details about your future. Boss's orders. Of course, he'd do that, Satria muttered with a sigh. As they approached the mansion, Satria noticed the peculiar corridor filled with doors, each marked with strange symbols. What's with all these doors? He asked. And why are you two even following me? The Golden Man nodded respectfully. You recruited me after defeating me in battle. As for the doors, they're part of a security system. Each one leads to a nightmare realm designed to deal with intruders. The black-haired man grinned. As for me, you took me in after I was betrayed by Chaos Brigade. You said something about helping you find 2Ps to usher in a new era. 2Ps? Fatalis burst into laughter. What kind of nonsense is this? You're just making up pirate sagas now. Don't look at me, Satria replied, sweat dropping. I have no idea what future me was thinking. After a long walk, they reached a room marked with a golden dragon symbol. The interior was modest, but the Golden Man pressed a button on a bookshelf, revealing a hidden passage. Inside was a high-tech machine that whirred to life, creating a glowing golden portal. Whoa! I made this! Satria's excitement was palpable. This is awesome! The Golden Man smiled. It's your genius at work, boss. Now, step through. They're waiting for you. Satria entered the portal, finding himself in what could only be described as paradise. Satria's future mansion was a stunning blend of Indonesian, Japanese, and European architecture, creating a unique harmony of styles that represented the different facets of his life and personality. As Satria stepped out of the portal, he found himself gazing up at a massive mansion surrounded by a breathtaking garden. The main building structure was reminiscent of a traditional Indonesian joglo, with its high, tiered roof supported by intricately carved wooden pillars. The details of the carvings depicted mythological scenes, blending elements from his heritage and his adventures. The Japanese influence was apparent in the tranquil garden surrounding the estate. Cherry blossoms lined the cobblestone pathways, leading to a koi pond with a gracefully arched wooden bridge. A small shoji-style tea house stood to the side, complete with sliding paper doors and tatami mats. The peaceful design exuded serenity, a contrast to the adventurous life Satria often led. The European touches gave the mansion a regal air. Large arched windows allowed natural light to flood the interiors, and ivy climbed the stone walls, giving it the charm of a stately manor. Inside, chandeliers adorned the high ceilings, and marble staircases curved elegantly. The furniture carried a Victorian influence, with richly upholstered chairs and long, heavy curtains framing the windows. Fatalis whistled in approval. This is nice. I take it back, pup, you're not entirely useless. Thanks for the vote of confidence, Satria said smugly. The Golden Man rang the mansion's bell, and the door was opened by a maid with light brown hair tied in a French braid, her orange-yellow eyes sharp and commanding. Welcome home, Lord Satria, she said with a small bow, before turning to the Golden Man. And thank you for bringing him here, divine sperm. Divine, what? Fatalis nearly choked with laughter. Don't ask, Satria muttered, now doubting his naming abilities in the future. The Golden Man only smiled and waved as he left. Good luck, boss. You'll need it. Her tone sent a shiver down his spine. Why do I feel like I've just entered a trap? As the maid led Satria through the house, her sharp, commanding demeanor didn't waver. Now, please follow me inside, you dolt, and be sure to behave like a good boy. Her tone was laced with thinly veiled annoyance, accompanied by a dangerous smile that promised consequences for disobedience. Satria wasn't one to let such remarks slide. He scoffed theatrically, crossing his arms. What a rude maid! Is this really how you treat your guests? Did my future self never teach you how to show respect? Unbelievable, simply unbelievable. His tone dripped with exaggerated exasperation. The maid paused, raising a single eyebrow. Her smile twisted slightly. You're the same as ever, she muttered under her breath. A talent for being insufferable. Fatalis chuckled in his mind. I like her already, pup. She has the patience of a saint to deal with you. Satria ignored Fatalis's commentary, his attention shifting to the house itself. The interior surprised him. The walls were adorned with photos of him surrounded by various women, including Kiyohime, Valyana, and Konako, as well as others he didn't recognize. Hey, Satria muttered, scanning the cozy but tasteful decor. At least my future self has good taste in architecture. Modest, comfortable, yeah, this is exactly the kind of place I'd want. And apparently, Fatalis teased, you also have good taste in women. Look at all these wives you've collected. Quite the little player, aren't you? Satria groaned, face-palming. What was my future self thinking? How am I supposed to survive dealing with this many women? Forget the battles, I'm going to be bankrupted by child support alone. The maid eventually led him to a large, welcoming living room where several people were waiting. Satria froze the moment he saw them. Seated casually was his future self, looking far more composed and smug than Satria was comfortable admitting. Surrounding him were 6 women, each stunning in her own way. Kiyohime, elegant as ever in her kimono, radiating grace with her soft smile. A beautiful woman with long white hair and purple eyes, clad in a sharp, futuristic uniform. Her tech-adorned jacket and confident demeanor gave her an aura of a tactician or commander. A blue-haired woman with vibrant yellow eyes. Her calm, knowing smile carried an air of immense power. A pearl white-haired beauty with eyes like shimmering diamonds. The aura of a dragon radiated from her, strong, ancient, and proud. A dark blue-haired twin-tailed woman who winked at him playfully, exuding a mischievous charm. Finally, a regal woman with golden hair, her presence commanding attention. She carried an air of royalty and divinity. Satria blinked. What in the ever-loving hell? Future me. What have you done? The future Satria sighed, rubbing his temples. Can you stop ogling my wives, past me? Or should I send you straight to an ice guy with a yaoi theme? Don't think I won't. The women either chuckled or rolled their eyes, clearly used to this dynamic. Satria raised an eyebrow. Yaoi? Are you insane? Also, let's address the real issue here. How in the world did any of these girls fall for you, me? He gestured dramatically to the women. I demand an explanation. Kiyohime chuckled softly, covering her mouth with her sleeve. You're as dramatic as always, my dear. The white-haired tactician adjusted her jacket, eyeing him critically. Honestly, I'm wondering that myself. The blue-haired woman laughed lightly, her voice melodic. I think it's because you're both equally hopeless. Future Satria glared at his past self. First of all, I'm not explaining anything to you. Second, maybe you should be asking yourself why you're such an idiot for not realizing how great I am. I mean, look at me. Satria groaned, throwing his hands in the air. You're insufferable. I'd hate an idiot like you if you weren't me. The two Satrias launched into a back and forth that left everyone either amused or exasperated. To be continued. Chapter 58, Chapter 47. Fated Ties. Satria stared sharply at his future self, and his future self returned the glare with equal intensity. The tension in the room grew until the sound of a door opening broke their standoff. In walked 4 teenagers wearing school uniforms. Why are these 2 old men staring at each other like that? Asked a white-haired boy with an undercut hairstyle, his uniform worn haphazardly like a delinquent. Before anyone could respond, 2 blue-haired twins darted forward with pleading eyes. Ah yeah. Please give us money for snacks, they said in unison, their puppy eyes directed at future versions of Satria. Don't give these 2 any money, Otasama, until they finish their homework," another teen interjected, dragging the twins by their collars. She bore an uncanny resemblance to Kiyohime, her strict demeanor matching her mother's perfectly. "No. We don't want to study. It's boring," the twins whined, flailing in her grasp. "Help us, Aya. Bunda. Anyone?" The blue-haired woman with twin tails pretended to dab her eyes dramatically. "My poor babies, forgive your Bunda for abandoning you both in your time of need." Kiyohime twitched. "This is all your fault for spoiling them," she said, glaring at her future husband. "You've turned them into little slackers, just like you." The white-haired boy snickered at the chaos. "Idiots," he thought and turned into white slime, sneaking toward the door. "I'm getting out of here before I get dragged into their nonsense." "Stop! Oh, crap!" He froze, the menacing voice of his mother, her long, straight blue hair flowing like a predator ready to strike, cutting through his attempt at stealth. "My dear son," she said sweetly, her smile anything but kind. "Come here and sit down." He returned to his human form and tried to feign innocence, flashing her a puppy-eyed look. "Hee hee. What do you need, mommy?" Her response was swift, an iron grip on his face. "W.A. W.A. W.A. Stop. I'm sorry," he wailed. "Why am I getting dragged into this too?" a voice inside him, clearly his twin brother, protested. "Don't play dumb, you little delinquent of mine," his mother scolded, tightening her grip. "How much money did you lose on that betting site? And don't even try to deny it, I can smell the smoke on you. Were you smoking at school? Oh, and I heard you picked a fight with someone from another universe. Explain yourself." "It was only $7,000. The team played like garbage, okay? I almost won. Stupid Manchester United ruined it, and now I'm officially their hater," he admitted, squirming. "And I smoked outside of school, not inside. Also, that Scion monkey challenged me first. What was I supposed to do, run away? I put them in their place." Her grip tightened further. "Aduh. Pun, Mom. I promise I won't do it again." Future Satria sighed deeply, shaking his head. "You idiot. I told you not to bet on that clown team. And if you're going to smoke, use magic to remove the smell. Seriously, you're beyond hope. Who taught him that magic? I want to learn that spell too." Present Satria asked curiously. The glare he received from every woman in the room made him backtrack immediately. "Forget I asked," he muttered. The white-haired woman with the aura of a terrifying dragon stepped forward, her gaze pinning future Satria in place. "What kind of nonsense have you been teaching him?" Future Satria paled, waving his hands defensively. "Mana Ada. This brat is unruly to control. I don't know who he's trying to imitate." The boy, sensing an opportunity, pointed dramatically at his father. "It's his fault. He's the one who said, it's okay to be wild when you're young. Just make sure you have achievements and become successful man later to silence your hater and make your mom proud. He's also the one who taught me to smoke and prank people." The women in the room turned to glare at future Satria, who gulped nervously. "You. Bakapekok." Future Satria growled. "Don't snitch me, old man. I'm just telling the truth." The boy's mother let out an exasperated sigh, gripping her head. "Why are you two exactly alike?" She suddenly had a headache, not expecting parenting to be this difficult. The sulking son crossed his arms and pouted. "We're not the same, okay? I'm smarter and way more handsome than that old man," he declared confidently, pointing at his father with a smug grin. Future Satria's eyebrow twitched in irritation. "Oh, really? Keep talking, and I'll show you how handsome looks with a black eye." The boy's twin chimed in with a deadpan expression. "Nope. You're not smarter, and you're just a carbon copy with bad habits. The son whipped around to glare at his twin hormonas inside him. Whose side are you on? His mother pinched the bridge of her nose and let out a heavy sigh. I don't even know where to begin with this family, she muttered, utterly speechless at the ridiculous back and forth. Meanwhile, the women in the room exchanged amused glances, some stifling chuckles while others shook their heads in exasperation. Fatalis, however, was having the time of her life. This is gold. I need popcorn for this drama, she quipped, cackling inside Satria's mind. Don't encourage them. Satria groaned internally, face-palming at the chaos his future family seemed to embody. Ugh! I don't know if I can survive that, he muttered, looking pale at the thought of being surrounded by so many strong and scary women. Ahem! The blonde-haired woman with a regal aura cleared her throat, commanding attention. Can we return to the main topic? We need to discuss the consequences of your time travel. The room fell silent as everyone nodded. Go back to your room. We'll discuss your behavior later, the long, straight blue-haired woman commanded her son firmly. There's more, the boy whined, pouting in an almost comical manner. Of course. Did you think you'd escape punishment so easily, my dear boy? Her voice was sweet, but the glint in her eyes said otherwise. Humph! He stomped away, sulking like a child who had just lost his favorite toy. Once the door shut, the blue-haired woman turned to Satria. Now, you sit, she ordered, pointing to a chair. Satria obediently complied, the tone in her voice leaving no room for argument. Do you understand the consequences of your time traveling? She asked, her piercing gaze drilling into him. I know, Satria mumbled. Then why did you do it? Because I was bored, he admitted sheepishly. She sighed, pinching the bridge of her nose. Please, use your powers wisely from now on. You could disrupt the timeline, change the future, or even make this reality cease to exist. Do you want to erase our family from existence? Satria shook his head frantically. No, I'm sorry, he said, his voice almost a whimper. His apologetic expression softened the women in the room. He's the same hubby, hey, thought the twin-tailed blue-haired woman, smiling fondly. That face makes it impossible to stay mad at him, the white-haired woman in the uniform mused, her stern demeanor cracking. Cute. I'd love to tease him like this more often, the dragon lady thought, her smirk revealing her intentions. No, I can't let myself go soft. I'm a king of heroes, and I must remain strong, even in front of my emperor. The blonde woman wrestled with her emotions, her conflicted expression betraying her inner turmoil. Listen to her, and stop being such an idiot, future Satria interjected smugly, crossing his arms. You could learn a thing or two from the amazing me. Everyone's sweat dropped. You're one to talk, idiot, they all thought in unison, suppressing the urge to groan. Ha! No way I'm turning into a goof like you. Puck you! Satria shot back, flipping his future self the middle finger. Future Satria's eyebrow twitched. Oh, you wanna fight? I'm a professional at beating up morons like you. He moved in an instant, ready to tackle his younger self, but was abruptly yanked back by glowing golden chains. Satria! Behave! The blonde woman's voice was calm yet carried the weight of absolute authority. As for you, she turned to present Satria, her piercing gaze locking onto him. Go back to your timeline and summon me when you're ready. Honestly, you're hopeless without me to guide you. The long blue-haired woman sighed, stepping forward. With a flick of her hand, she conjured a swirling portal. Grabbing Satria by the collar, she set her other hand on his chest, embedding a faint golden glow within him. I've infused manas inside you to stabilize the timeline and erased a few unnecessary memories. Don't worry, you'll remember what's important, she said with a small, fond smile. Goodbye for now, dear. Don't keep us waiting too long. Wait. Yaa. Satria's protests were cut off as she tossed him unceremoniously into the portal, which closed with a resounding snap. The room was silent for a moment before the twin-tailed woman chuckled. He hasn't changed a bit. Not at all, the dragon lady agreed, her smirk returning. Do you think he'll grow up soon? The white-haired woman asked with a sigh. Future Satria stretched, grinning. Nah, that's what makes him me. He's got a lot to learn, but he'll get there, eventually. The women exchanged knowing looks, their shared thoughts unspoken, he better. As Satria tumbled out of the portal back into his timeline, he landed face first on the ground with a loud thud. Ow! Damn it! Satria groaned, rubbing his sore face as he sat up. I have been falling for 30 minutes. The moonlight of Qa greeted him, its warmth a stark contrast to the chaotic energy of the future he had just witnessed. Satria stretched, his mind buzzing with everything he'd seen and learned. Yet, as he glanced around, a nagging feeling began to creep into his thoughts. Is it just me, or does it feel like we're forgetting something? He asked aloud, furrowing his brow. Fatalis went silent for a moment, then hummed thoughtfully. Now that you mention it. Yeah, there's definitely something missing. Satria scratched the back of his head, trying to piece it together. Let's see. We go to the future, check. So. What the hell am I forgetting? Something important, Fatalis replied, her tone unusually serious. Something that feels personal. But I can't place it either. Ugh. This is going to drive me nuts. Satria groaned. All I remember is that someone told us not to do it again, nothing more and nothing less. Satria lounged on the couch, casually watching a film, but the prickling sensation of being watched tugged at his awareness. He turned his head slightly and spotted Kiyohime lurking in the shadows, her golden eyes peeking out from behind a wall. What is she doing? Does she want something from me? He thought, smirking inwardly. Though Kiyohime tried to conceal herself, her presence was as obvious to him as sunlight on a clear day. In an instant, Satria moved with lightning speed, grabbing Kiyohime and pulling her onto his lap. Dana-sama. How did you? Her flustered question was abruptly silenced as Satria pressed his lips against hers. Their mouths locked in a heated kiss, their tongues battling as if neither wanted to surrender. When he pulled back, her cheeks were flushed, her breathing uneven. You're such a cheater, Dana-sama. How am I supposed to punish you if you distract me like this? What can I say? I'm not heartless enough to ignore my girl when she's yearning for some love. Satria grinned mischievously, brushing a strand of hair away from her face. I love you, my dear. His tone was sweet and teasing, but his real intention was clear, he wanted to sleep on the bed and cuddle with them. Yes, let me do it, he silently begged, his puppy dog eyes on full display. Kiyohime hesitated, her resolve wavering under his gaze. She sighed in defeat. Fine, but only 5 minutes, okay? You're so spoiled, Dana-sama. You're the best. Kiyohime undid the obi of her kimono, letting it fall open to reveal her modest yet elegant curves. Satria leaned down eagerly, capturing one of her rosy peaks with his lips. Ah! You really are my big baby, aren't you? Kiyohime giggled softly, running her fingers through his hair as he nuzzled her chest. Are my breasts that delicious, Dana-sama? Satria nodded enthusiastically, too preoccupied to answer verbally. Kiyohime chuckled again, her hand caressing his head. The tender moment, however, was rudely interrupted. My, Kiyohime-san, a sultry voice called from behind. I thought our hubby was supposed to be in punishment mode. Kiyohime jolted, her face turning crimson as she spotted Valyana leaning against the doorway, a knowing grin on her lips. Dana-sama started it. Kiyohime protested, only to yelp when Satria's tongue teased her sensitive skin. Valyana sauntered over, her smirk widening. That's not fair, Kia Him-san. Share the fun. Our husband deserves both our attention. Without waiting for a response, Valyana began slipping out of her clothes, her confidence radiating like a goddess descending from the heavens. Her figure, fuller and curvier than Kia Him's, immediately drew Satria's attention. Do you want to taste mine too, hubby? Valyana teased, cupping her ample chest invitingly. Of course, if you'll let me, Satria replied, eyes sparkling with anticipation. For my adorable boy, anything. Go ahead, enjoy yourself. With her permission, Satria leaned forward and took her into his mouth, his enthusiasm undiminished. Valyana cooed softly, stroking his hair. You're such a greedy one, aren't you? She teased. But I don't mind. It's cute when you're like this. She shifted his position gently, her hand sliding down to his waist. Her fingers hooked into the waistband of his trousers, and before he could react, she freed his already eager sword. What are you doing? He asked, his voice husky with both surprise and excitement. Relax, hubby, she purred, wrapping her fingers around him. I'll take care of this too. Her movements were slow and deliberate, stroking him with a skillful hand that made his breath hitch. Oh my, you're already so lively, Valyana teased, her grin becoming wicked. Let's make this even better. Satria groaned, his head falling against her chest as she continued her ministrations. The combination of her soft curves and skilled touch drove him to the edge. I can't hold it anymore, he admitted, his voice strained. Then let it out, darling, Valyana whispered, pressing a kiss to his forehead. I'm here for you. With her encouragement, he surrendered, his release spilling over her hand. Valyana chuckled, raising her soiled fingers with a playful glint in her eyes. You're such a good boy, she said, her voice dripping with affection. Kiyohime huffed from the side, puffing her cheeks. Valyana-san, you can't just hog him all to yourself. Valyana grinned. Oh, don't worry, Kia Him-san. There's plenty of hubby to go around. Kiyohime leaned closer, her eyes half-lidded as she traced her tongue along Satria's sword, her movements slow and deliberate. Her tongue, agile and serpentine, sent shivers down his spine, completely different from Valyana's approach. Delicious, Kiyohime murmured, a playful smile curling on her lips as she glanced toward Valyana. Valyana raised an eyebrow, intrigued. Yes. Kiyohime didn't hesitate. I can't hold back anymore. Let's do it together, right now. What a tempting proposal, Valyana purred, her voice dripping with sultry amusement. She ran her fingers through her hair, her eyes locking onto Satria. I feel the same way, Kia Him-san. Both women turned their attention to Satria, their expressions burning with desire. Ahem. Girls? What are you planning to do with me? Satria's voice wavered slightly as he took a step back, realizing he'd suddenly become the prey. Their predatory gazes made his instincts scream in warning. We're not letting you sleep tonight, Danasama, Kiyohime said sweetly, her tone contrasting her intent. Fufu, we'll suck you dry, Valyana added with a teasing laugh, stepping closer. From within Satria's consciousness, another voice roared in frustration. I'm envious of them. My boy, hurry up and release me from your body right now. Fatalis's voice echoed, full of indignation. And how exactly am I supposed to do that? Satria muttered under his breath, pinching the bridge of his nose. How unlucky am I? 7 hours later. Stop. Ah, the pleasure is too much. Satria gasped, his body trembling as he reached his peak, releasing deep inside Valyana. Her body shuddered as she let out a satisfied moan, her strength giving out as she collapsed onto the bed. What? What a monster, she muttered breathlessly, her voice laced with exhaustion and bliss. No more. That thing. It's too much. My womb feels so hot and full. Are you trying to impregnate us? Satria's lips curled into a mischievous smirk. Without a word, he positioned himself again, his movements deliberate as he entered her once more. Then get pregnant, he whispered against her ear, his voice low and commanding. He gave her a firm smack on the ass, earning a surprised yelp. No rest for bad girls like you. Ah. Yes. Valyana's voice broke into a mix of moans and cries, her body reacting to his dominance. Punish this bad girl like the bitch she is, daddy. Kiyohime, watching from beside them, bit her lip, unable to hold back any longer. She shifted closer, her own desire flaring. You're not leaving me out, are you, Danasama? Not at all, Satria replied, pulling her into his arms. Kiyohime guided him, repositioning herself on all fours, her tail swaying seductively. Punish me too, Kiyohime demanded, her voice breathy yet firm. Treat me like a bad girl. Show me no mercy, Danasama. Satria grinned, his hands gripping her hips as he drove into her. Kiyohime cried out in pleasure, her voice filled with unrestrained ecstasy. Yes. Right there. That's the spot, she moaned, her voice climbing higher as she surrendered completely. Her pleasure fed into his, and the two moved together with increasing intensity. The night stretched on, the room filled with the sounds of passion. Neither Kiyohime nor Valyana was spared as Satria indulged in their desires, his stamina seemingly endless. By the time the first rays of sunlight crept through the curtains, both women lay exhausted beside him, their bodies spent but their faces glowing with satisfaction. Next time, Valyana murmured with a sleepy smile, we're tying you up, hubby. You're too dangerous otherwise. Satria chuckled softly, his hand stroking her hair. You can try, but you might just regret it. We need to talk, Valyana began, her tone unusually serious. Kiyohime raised an eyebrow. About what? About him, Valyana said, nodding toward Satria, who was playing with Ariel. It's becoming impossible to keep up with his appetite. The two of us alone aren't enough. Kiyohime's cheeks turned a deep red. What are you suggesting, Valyana-san? Valyana smirked slightly, her tone teasing. Oh, don't pretend you haven't noticed. If we keep going at this pace, we'll burn out before long. Want it or not, we might need to expand the team. Kiyohime's eyes narrowed, her expression shifting between irritation and contemplation. You mean? Yes, Valyana said bluntly. We need more people to share the responsibility. Kiyohime's face scrunched up, a mix of disbelief and irritation flickering across her features. You think I'd let just anyone join? Do you know how many shameless women would jump at the chance to throw themselves at him? That's why we'd set rules, Valyana countered, her tone calm but firm. No one gets in without your approval or mine, for that matter. And they need to be strong and smart. We don't have room for weak, useless women who'll just take up space. Kiyohime sighed, crossing her arms. I can't believe I'm even considering this. She glanced at Satria, her expression softening. But, you're right. If it's for his sake, I'll allow it. But I swear, Valyana-san, if anyone tries to overstep their place, I won't hesitate to remind them who came first. Valyana chuckled, her grin widening. I'd expect nothing less from you, Kiyohime-san. Besides, you and I are more than enough to keep them in line. As long as we work together, we'll make this work. Kiyohime huffed, but a small smile tugged at her lips. Fine. But remember, this is for him. Not because I want some new roommates. Of course, Valyana said, her tone dripping with amusement. For him. As if sensing he was the topic of discussion, Satria stirred, his eyes fluttering open. He looked between the two women, their expressions suspiciously united. What? What are you two plotting? He asked, still groggy. Nothing you need to worry about, darling, Valya Nakud, leaning down to kiss his forehead. Just a little discussion about your future. Satria blinked, clearly unconvinced. Why do I feel like I should be nervous? Kiyohime gave him a sweet, almost predatory smile. Oh, don't worry, Danasama. We'll make sure everything is perfect, for you. Satria gulped, instinctively sensing trouble ahead. To be continued. Chapter 59, Side Story, The God of Hope's Daily Life, Part 3. Naruto sat on the balcony of his house under the serene light of the moon, his attention on the dimensional chat interface hovering before him. Hey, Naruto, how about you test the gacha now? Kurama's gruff yet familiar voice broke the silence. Naruto shrugged, his lips curling into a small smile. Sure, why not? He tapped the screen, activating the gacha roll. Spin one number, 10,000 copyright. Nice. With this, I won't need to worry about wasting too much coins, Naruto remarked, leaning back with satisfaction. Spin 2 number, Nen unlocked. Description: a technique that allows living beings to manipulate their life energy. Nen, hi? Is it similar to Ki? Naruto muttered, his curiosity piqued. Spin 3 number, you received Angel Breath. Description: a rare item from the Greed Island game. Angel Breath cures any illness, one-time use. Not bad, he said with a nod. Spin 4 number, you unlocked Domain Expansion. Description: the ultimate jujutsu technique that creates a personal domain imbued with cursed energy, amplifying your abilities within its boundaries. Cursed techniques? Never heard of those before, Naruto mused. But being able to create my own domain sounds incredibly useful. Spin 5 number, you received the book How to Use Hyakushiki Cannon. Description: learn to summon an invisible, multi-armed nin construct resembling a colossal guanyin statue. The construct's strength increases with nin enhancement. Hat. Now this is interesting, Naruto said, flipping through the book's digital preview. Keh. That technique reminds me of Hashirama, Kurama growled, recalling an old grudge. Madara used it to control me back then. What a pain. Naruto chuckled. Still holding on to that, hey. Before Kurama could respond, the sound of soft footsteps approached. A blonde woman in a kimono appeared, gracefully sitting beside him. Not asleep yet? She asked, her voice carrying a soothing warmth. Naruto smiled. No, not yet. So. Are you enjoying your stay here, Your Majesty? Artoria frowned, elbowing him lightly in the ribs. Don't call me that. It feels strange. Haha, sorry, Artoria-chan. Life's unpredictable, isn't it? Who would have thought I'd meet someone as amazing as you? Artoria blushed, her composure faltering for a moment. Are you trying to seduce me? What? No. Naruto waved his hands in panic. I was just speaking the truth, that's all. Artoria giggled at his flustered expression. Relax, Naruto. You know. I feel the same way about you. Naruto froze, his cheeks tinting red. You do. Artoria's gaze softened as she looked at him. When I saw your family, I was envious. In the past, I never cared about things like that. I was selfish, only pursuing my goals without considering others. Remember Morgan? Naruto nodded, his curiosity piqued. He had always wanted to know more about Artoria's past. She's my blood sister, Artoria continued, her voice tinged with regret. But instead of loving or protecting her, we constantly clashed, trying to harm each other. Do you think someone like me, someone so horrible, deserves a family? Naruto didn't hesitate. He wrapped her in a warm, reassuring hug. If you ask me, everyone deserves a second chance. I had someone I considered a brother, too. We fought all the time, but the last time we met, he protected me from a Juhobi that nearly killed me. I believe you and Morgan can reconcile someday, too. Artoria's breath hitched as his words sank in. And as for your question, Naruto added with a gentle smile, you do deserve it, Artoria-chan. From the start, you've been part of this family. So how about it? Artoria's eyes shimmered with emotion as she slowly returned his embrace. Thank you, Naruto. Now I understand why they call you the God of Hope. Before she realized it, she leaned up and kissed him, a fleeting yet heartfelt gesture that caught them both off guard. Artoria, you... Naruto stammered, his mind struggling to process what had just happened. Artoria quickly turned away, flustered. Don't, even I don't know why I did that. Do you, hate me? Naruto shook his head vehemently. No. That's impossible. Before the moment could progress further, a playful voice interrupted them. Ahem. Sorry to interrupt, but the children are asking for their daddy, Psycho teased, her smile mischievous. And maybe we should talk before you two get too cozy. Naruto and Artoria's faces turned scarlet, their romantic moment replaced by sheepish laughter. Side end. Chapter 60, Chapter 48. The Huntress and the Black Cat. The Orc Club Room, Kuah Academy. So, you and your peerage were defeated by him alone? How is that even possible? Sana Satria asked, her voice laced with curiosity and disbelief. She adjusted her glasses, studying her friend's shaken demeanor. The idea of someone defeating Rias Gremari's peerage along with exorcists from the church was no small feat. Rias sighed heavily, her expression grim. Her peerage members shifted uncomfortably, the memory of their battle against Shin still fresh and unsettling. He's incredibly strong, Rias began, her tone serious. He doesn't hesitate to fight dirty, and his abilities are unlike anything I've ever seen. Strange abilities? Sana asked, her analytical mind already racing. Can you give me an example? Rias nodded, a hint of frustration in her eyes. He moves at an unbelievable speed so fast that none of us could follow his movements, not even Kaiba. And his healing ability? It's beyond comprehension. Kaiba chimed in, his voice tinged with awe. That's true. Asia's twilight healing is remarkable, but Shin's healing magic is on an entirely different level. He restored our injuries instantly, with no signs of fatigue or strain on his part. It's almost terrifying. Sana frowned deeply, her logical mind refusing to accept the implications. A human with that level of power? It's absurd. Could these abilities be from a sacred gear? Or advanced magic, perhaps? Rias shook her head slowly. I don't know. I couldn't sense any sacred gear aura from him, and his magic doesn't match anything I've studied. He's an enigma. The room fell silent for a moment, tension heavy in the air. Then Momo, a member of Sana's peerage, hesitantly spoke up. Shouldn't we report this to the higher UPS? Someone with that kind of power could be a threat to us and to the devil faction. Tsubaki, Sana's queen, looked at her master with concern. Should we inform Serafil-sama? She might want to be aware of someone like Shin. Sana closed her eyes, pinching the bridge of her nose. The thought of involving her older sister, Serafil Leviathan, was not appealing. This situation was delicate, and she wanted to handle it with care. No, we're not reporting this just yet, Sana said firmly. Shin hasn't shown any outright hostility toward the devil faction. From what I've gathered, this entire situation stemmed from Rias provoking him in the first place. The fact that he spared her and her peerage suggests he's not looking for conflict, he just wants to be left alone. But President, what if he is a threat? Tsubaki pressed. Then I'll deal with it personally, Sana replied, her tone unwavering. I'll speak with him myself, ensure we approach this matter calmly, and avoid unnecessary conflict. The last thing we need is to escalate this into something bigger than it needs to be. The room grew quiet again, everyone contemplating Sana's words. Ria still looked shaken, but there was a glimmer of hope in her eyes, hope that Sana might be able to resolve this mystery. What kind of guy is this Shin? Is he really as dangerous as he seems? Saji Genshiro asked, glancing at Issei Hyudu, who stood silently beside him. Issei hesitated for a moment, his face conflicted. Finally, he spoke up. I think it's time I tell you the truth. The room fell silent. Everyone's attention snapped to him. What truth, Issei? Rias asked sharply, her piercing gaze fixed on her pawn. Issei scratched the back of his head nervously before answering. The truth is, Shin-san is the one who trained me before I fought Riser. Gasps echoed around the room. What? Rias's voice rose in shock. Her eyes widened as she processed the revelation. Why would you hide something like that from us, Issei? She turned to look at the rest of her peerage, especially Konako, suspicion beginning to creep into her expression. Does anyone else here have a connection with this Shin and hasn't told me? Her peerage exchanged nervous glances, but none of them spoke up. The silence only deepened Rias's growing unease. Rias, let's not jump to conclusions, Sana interjected, trying to maintain calm. She turned her attention to Issei, her tone sharp but measured. Issei, how did you come to train under him? And what can you tell us about him? Any detail could be important. Issei took a deep breath. Shin-san's training was brutal, but he's a good guy. Strict, sure, but he never looked down on me, even though I was weak back then. He believed I could become stronger to protect my friends. And he didn't just teach me how to fight, he taught me how to believe in myself. Every piece of advice he gave felt like a lesson for life, not just for battle. His voice softened. I'm sorry for hiding it. I didn't think it mattered back then, but now. I see I should have told you. He bowed his head deeply in apology. Konako, who had been silently observing, allowed a small smile to creep onto her usually stoic face. Senpai really is kind at heart. Always helping people when they need it. Rias, still taken aback, stared at Issei. She hadn't expected Shin, the same infuriating person who had humiliated her peerage, to also be the one who indirectly helped save her from Riser. Annoying, smug jerk. Yet, perhaps there's more to him than I thought. Aira, perhaps we should reward him instead of antagonizing him, Bucko, Akeno teased, her usual playful smile lighting up her face. It's true, Kaiba chimed in, his tone thoughtful. Shin-san could be a valuable ally if we approach him the right way. What do you think, Rias-sama? Rias hesitated, her emotions conflicting. Her pride urged her to dismiss Shin entirely, but her logical side couldn't ignore the potential benefits of having someone like him on their side. Sana, sensing her friend's struggle, decided to step in. Rias, it's clear Shin isn't an enemy. If anything, he seems more interested in staying out of our affairs and less provoked. You might want to consider reaching out to him not as an adversary, but as someone who could help us in the future. Rias sighed, her shoulders slumping slightly. I'll think about it. For now, the question of who Shin was and what he was truly capable of remained unanswered. Satria sat in the room he had recently built in his sprawling garden, sipping black coffee and lazily puffing on a cigarette. His gaze rested on Ariel, who was gracefully playing in the crystal-clear waters of the indoor pond he had commissioned. The pond wasn't just any ordinary water feature, it was a masterpiece worth millions, complete with artificial waterfalls and vibrant koi fish. To enhance the serenity, he had imported a pair of lovebirds from the Nizantara archipelago, their soft chirping blending with the cascading water. Nikmatna hijab, so this is what it feels like to be truly successful in life, Satria muttered, reclining comfortably and savoring the moment. He chuckled to himself, reflecting on the events of the previous night. Who would have thought life could be this thrilling? Sex is something else, he mused, a wry grin tugging at his lips. His mind replayed the passion-filled night that had left him thoroughly spent but euphoric. They had gone at it all night long, indulging in each other's desires. Fortunately, today was a holiday, sparing him the trouble of coming up with excuses for skipping school. The true challenge of the night, however, hadn't been the passion but the aftermath. His girls' dragons in both nature and spirit were far from ordinary. Their strength and ferocity had been so overwhelming that his bed had cracked under their intensity. "It's a good thing I have Ultraman Cosmos power to keep up with them," he muttered, exhaling smoke. He'd relied on his Cosmo healing abilities to replenish his stamina and used Miracle Realize to restore the furniture. Without them, the night might have ended in utter exhaustion. His thoughts wandered to his girls. Valyana, his white dragon princess, had surprised him the most. Beneath her confident and commanding facade, she was a closet masochist who completely surrendered when dominated. Satria found her reactions both amusing and thrilling. Kiyohime, on the other hand, had shown a side of herself he hadn't anticipated. He'd expected her fiery, sadistic personality to carry over into their intimacy, but instead, she was surprisingly tender. Her gentleness left him wanting to learn even more about her complex nature. Who knew dragons could be so unpredictable in love? As he took another sip of his coffee, a soft chime from his phone pulled him from his reverie. It was a notification from the dimensional chat, a place where the most unexpected requests for help popped up. Looks like someone needs the amazing me to solve their problems again. He smirked, tapping the screen. For a moment, he considered charging for his services. But no, this day was too perfect to be sullied by petty greed. Since I'm feeling generous today, I'll help them for free. He stubbed out his cigarette, stretched leisurely, and prepared to answer the call for aid. After all, even heroes deserve a good day off, though sometimes, the call to adventure waits for no one. __________________. Shin Login. Kazuma-sama, yo, Satria. How've you been? God of Hope, finally, you're here, Satria. I need to discuss something crucial, something coming to my world soon. Shin, no problem, my friend. Your savior is here. And today, you can ask me anything for free. Evil spirit, really? Then I've got a few questions that need answers. Shin, sure thing, Naruto. What's the bad news happening in your world? God of Hope, do you know an entity named Gore? Shin, you mean Gore the God Butcher? God of Hope, exactly. Do you have any information on him? Shin, why, of all people, must it be him? Are we talking about fighting him soon? Just pray the version coming to your world is the MCU one. God of Hope, recently, I visited Titanus Leto, and she mentioned a prophecy her father received. Gore is coming to my world soon. Shin, oh, that's bad news. Asteth, who is this God Butcher? Shin, he's a mortal who, through sheer hate and a terrifying weapon, enslaved gods across an entire universe. His power is beyond insane. King of Knights, immortal, enslaved gods? What kind of monster is he? God of Hope, how is that even possible? Amelia, why would he do something so cruel? Shin, hate. The gods in his world ignored his prayers, letting his daughter die in front of him. Losing his last family member broke him. I mean, as a father, Naruto, you'd understand that kind of pain. But his weapon is what makes him truly terrifying. God of Hope, I don't even know how to respond. What else can you tell me about this weapon? Any weaknesses? Shin, his weapon is the Necrosword, a living weapon capable of harnessing shadow, creating an army, traveling dimensions, regenerating its user, and even killing beings as powerful as gods or celestials. So yet, he's insanely dangerous. And to answer your question about weaknesses, almost none. Evil spirit, what's a celestial? Shin, an entity far above pantheon gods. And even celestials aren't the strongest beings in that universe. Kazuma-sama, I feel utterly useless now. How am I supposed to face someone at that level? Evil spirit, I thought my world was already complicated enough. How are we supposed to beat him? God of hope, no weaknesses? Are you sure? Shin, positive. God of hope, shit. Shin, yet. Tough luck, Naruto. Pervert sage, Naruto, you really do attract trouble wherever you go. Shin, relax, my friends. The Great Bang Satria has a brilliant plan to defeat him. Smiling face with sunglasses, wanna hear it? Death, oh? This should be interesting. Go on, tell us. God of hope, if you've got a plan, I'm all ears. I'll owe you one for this, Satria. Spider-Man, since my world's pretty similar to God of Hope's, I'd better listen too. This sounds important. Kazuma-sama, you always act like a weird guy with overpowered abilities, but you keep proving me wrong. Lay it on us, Satria. What's your master plan? Shin, simple. We need to rely on the member with extraordinary luck, a man who can use his unique skill to steal Gore's weapon. Instead of wasting it on stealing women's panties, he'll step up for the greater good. That brave hero is Kazuma-sama. Kazuma-sama, damn you. Why me? I refuse. Pervert sage, wait, you can steal women's panties? My comrade, Sato Kazuma, please teach me your ways. Evil spirit, you. You actually have a skill like that? What a trash. King of Knights, I despise perverts. Stay away from me. Amelia, pervert. God of Hope, are you seriously suggesting this? Shin, you might think I'm joking, but I'm 100% serious. Kazuma's luck isn't a joke. Even if something unfortunate happens, a goddess or I can revive him. Relax and trust the process. Kazuma-sama, why are you talking like I've already agreed to this insane plan? I refuse to be some sacrificial pawn. And stop calling me a pervert. Everything this weird guy says is a lie. Ding. Kuroniko has joined the chat. Ding. Cookies Maniac has joined the chat. God of Hope, welcome to the group, new members. Spider-Man, welcome. Kazuma-sama, welcome to this chaos, new members. You're going to need luck. Cookies Maniac, Excuse me? What exactly is this? Suddenly, a screen appeared asking me to join, and now I'm here. Kuroniko. ____________. Satria leaned back, watching the usernames on the screen. Cookies Maniac. Who's that? He wondered. And Kuroniko, is this perhaps Rurigoka? __________. Shin, let me break it down for you, I'm the most handsome, intelligent and compassionate guy here. This group chat allows you to communicate with people from different worlds. Occasionally, you'll get quests. If you clear them, you'll receive rewards like power, magic, money, and other amazing stuff. It's like leveling up in real life. Kazuma-sama, compassionate? You? That's the funniest joke I've heard all day. Evil spirit, agreed. At first, I thought the admin was a good guy who genuinely liked helping people. Turns out, reality doesn't match my expectations. Shin, excuse me? It's called free trials, emo lady. Besides, I'm practically a philanthropist in my world. Cookies Maniac, that sounds amazing. Kuroniko, if I join, can I become stronger? Shin, absolutely. You can ask other members for training, advice, or even items to help you grow stronger. But first, I need some basic info, your name and age, at Kuroniko and at Cookies Maniac. Kuroniko, Fran. I'm 13 years old. Cookies Maniac, my name is Ruby Rose, and I'm 15. _________. Satria leaned back, sipping his coffee as he glanced at the chat notifications. Fran? That name rings a bell. Isn't that the girl from that anime where the protagonist reincarnates into a sword and teams up with a lowly black cat? Yeah, reincarnated as a sword. He scratched his head. Too bad I barely watched it. I remember the premise, but that's about it. When his eyes fell on Ruby Rose's introduction, he sighed. Ruby Rose? That's RWBY, right? What are the chances? And of course, it's a series I never followed. He frowned, his thoughts trailing off. I only know bits and pieces. The girls in that show are decent looking, but, ugh, so much LGBT subtext in that story. Not really my thing. Before he could dwell on it, Fatalis' voice interrupted his thoughts, dripping with mischief. How about you head over there and straighten those two under your flag, lowly Tria? Think of it as a fun new side quest, Satria rolled his eyes, his voice tinged with annoyance. How about I straighten your head first, stupid neat dragon? _______. Shin, so, what's your situation right now? Do you have any dreams or goals? Cookies Maniac, I'm a student at Beacon Academy. My dream is to become an amazing huntress like my mom and help protect innocent people from bad guys or Grimm. I want to make the world a better place for everyone. Amelia, that's such a wonderful dream, Ruby. I'll support you from now on. Evil spirit, oh my, such innocence. Just be careful and stay away from the trio of troublemakers at Shin, at Kazuma-sama, and at Pervert Sage. This Oni-san doesn't want you getting influenced by their nonsense. Shin, who are you calling a troublemaker, emo girl? I mean, I agree Kazuma's questionable, but me? Come on. Kazuma-sama, don't you dare lump the genius me with a dumb ass like him. And hey, Kurumi, why are you making us out to be the villains here? Pervert Sage, Kurumi-chan, why are you always so mean to us? Crying face. Cookies Maniac, please don't fight, everyone. God of Hope, don't mind them, Ruby. Your dream is inspiring. Your world is lucky to have someone like you, and I believe you'll achieve it. Keep at it. Cookies Maniac, hehe, thank you. I promise I won't let you all down. Esteth, now let's hear from our other new member. Go ahead, girl, introduce yourself. Kuroniko, I am, a slave. Shin. Pervert Sage. God of Hope, want me to come over there? This is the perfect time for me to beat the crap out of some scumbags. Shin, hold on, Naruto, calm down. You're overpowered in her world, and we don't want to cause unnecessary chaos. God of Hope, how can I stay calm? A 13-year-old child as a slave? Whoever's behind this is disgusting. King of Knights, slavery, especially involving children, is unforgivable. If this were in Britain, I'd personally see to their execution. Shin, oh, the irony coming from British. But fine, I'll let that slide. Anyway, her world is still stuck in the medieval era. What do you expect? A utopia? And let me guess you're traveling in a carriage right now. Kuroniko, yes, how did you know? Shin, I have my ways and be careful. Because soon, your carriage will be attacked by a bear monster. That's when you'll meet your destined companion. Kuroniko, companion. Shin, yeah, he's a sentient sword. Once you meet him, your journey will truly begin. Don't lose hope, okay? You've got us now as your friends and me especially to support and help you. Kuroniko, thank you. That gives me some hope. Shin, if you're ever in danger, just let me know. I'll come immediately. God of Hope, count me in too. Esteth, tell me who hurt you, and I'll make them regret it for eternity. Pervert sage, this uncle is here for you too, Kuro-chan. Just say the word. Kuroniko, thank you, everyone. Cookies maniac, Kuroniko, would you like to be my friend? Kuroniko, you want to be friends with me? Cookies maniac, of course. If you ever need someone to talk to, I'm here. Kuroniko, okay, thank you, Ruby. ________________________________________________________________________ Satria sighed, gazing at the screen in front of him. He took another drag from his cigarette before muttering to himself, a girl that young, already enduring so much hardship in her life. I can't turn a blind eye. A kitten in need deserves help. Lost in his thoughts, he didn't notice someone quietly approaching him. What happened, Dana-sama? Kia-him's soft but stern voice startled him. Her sharp eyes glinted with suspicion as she snatched the cigarette from his hand. And you're still smoking even though I told you to stop? Phew, perhaps you'd like to explain yourself. Satria flinched, scratching the back of his neck awkwardly. Ah, it's not what you think, dear. There's a new member in the chat group, a young girl. She's a slave. Kiyohime tilted her head, her expression softening slightly. A slave? What do you mean? She comes from a medieval-era world, Satria explained, his voice tinged with frustration. And she's only 13 years old. Can you believe that? A child. It's unforgivable, and I can't just stand by and do nothing. Kia-him's gaze turned gentle, though there was still a flicker of suspicion in her eyes. So, what do you plan to do for her, Dana-sama? I'm going to help her, Satria declared with unwavering determination. No matter what it takes, I refuse to turn my back on this. This is my cat lover's path. In the depths of his mind, a familiar, teasing voice chimed in. Boong itu, Jangan tertipu, Kia-him-san. Pasty Ada Moxid Lane Fatalis's mocking tone carried a smirk Satria could practically hear. Apa Koba? Orang mau berbuat baik di tudul yang ingok ingok, Satria retorted silently, glaring into the void of his own thoughts. Kiyohime, oblivious to the internal bickering between Satria and Fatalis, smiled softly and wrapped her arms around him. Her voice was warm, laced with affection. You truly do have a kind heart, Dana-sama. That's why She paused, tightening her embrace slightly. I'll support you in whatever you decide. Just, don't exhaust yourself. Satria smirked, relieved that she believed in his sincerity. Thanks, Kiyohime. Don't worry, I've got this. Phew. I'll hold you to that, she replied, her mischievous grin reappearing. But if you ever forget about me while helping all these kittens, don't be surprised if you wake up to find yourself tied up in a very special way. Satria felt a chill run down his spine but chose to chuckle nervously instead of questioning her. Fatalis laughed loudly in his mind. See? Even your girl knows you're suspicious. Phew. _____________. Evil spirit, now it's my turn to talk about my problem. Shin, go ahead, I'm all ears. Suddenly, a notification appeared. Ding! Group quest active. Mission, help Kuroniko defeat the caster controlling the monster army and stop the invasion. Required participants, 2. Note, time will be paused in participants' worlds during the mission. Shin, I'm in. God of Hope, count me in too. Kazuma-sama, isn't this overkill? Evil spirit, wait. He still hasn't listened to my issue. Participants full. Preparing to transfer selected members to Kuroniko's world. _________________. The scene shifted abruptly. A small black-haired girl wielding an oversized sword stood against an overwhelming horde of monsters. Twin-headed bears, cyclopes, goblins, and even earth dragons surrounded her, their bloodthirsty growls echoing in the air. The sword in her hands pulsed with a concerned voice. "Kid, are you all right?" "I'm okay," Fran replied, panting from exhaustion. Despite her words, her trembling arms betrayed her. "Just call me Fran." So, he's telling the truth. This is bad. She's not ready for a fight of this scale, the sword thought. I need to do something, but there are too many. A cyclops lunged at Fran from her blind spot, its massive club raised for a crushing blow. "Fran! Behind you!" Before she could react, the air froze as if the world had been put on pause. "Dark Platinum! Stop time!" A calm, commanding voice resonated through the battlefield. Time itself halted, and in a blur of white, a man appeared. Carrying Fran effortlessly in his arms, he smiled down at her reassuringly. His silver hair shone under the sunlight, and his amber eyes radiated warmth. "Are you all right?" His deep, husky voice sent a calming wave through Fran's frazzled mind. In a blink, his stand spun in a graceful motion, unleashing a devastating air blade that sliced through every monster within a 1,000-meter radius. Trees, rocks, and beasts alike were obliterated without mercy, leaving only silence in their wake. "So this is Rankyaku. It's not as difficult as I imagined," he thought, his eyes narrowing in focus. With his superior physical abilities and exceptional speed, he realized he could replicate the techniques with relative ease. His body, honed through rigorous training and countless battles, already possessed the necessary foundation. Fran stared in awe, her face tinged pink. Thank you," she stammered shyly. Satria chuckled softly, setting her down gently. "It's my pleasure, young lady. By the way, is your name Fran or Kuroniko? I need to make sure." She nodded hesitantly. I'm Fran. And you are?" The man gave a charming smile, bowing slightly. "I'm Satria, admin of the Dimensional Chat Group. Nice to meet you, Fran." For the first time in years, Fran felt safe. Being near him filled her with an unfamiliar sense of comfort and warmth. It was as if the burdens she carried weren't so heavy anymore. Her sword, however, was utterly speechless. Who is this man? He just wiped out an entire horde in an instant. Their moment of respite was short-lived. A new wave of monsters poured out of the forest, roaring ferociously. Their moment of respite was short-lived. A new wave of monsters poured out of the forest, roaring ferociously. Before Fran could react, another figure leapt into action. A hooded man stood at the forefront, his confident grin flashing. "Wind style, massive Rasen shuriken," he shouted, hurling a colossal spinning disk of wind. The attack tore through the horde, disintegrating them on contact. Fran and her sword watched in stunned silence as the hooded man casually walked over, his orange coat fluttering in the breeze. "Yo, brat," Naruto said, grinning. "Looks like we made it in time." The sword couldn't hold back its curiosity. Appraisal. A translucent screen appeared, displaying the silver-haired man's stats. _______. Name, Satria. Race, human. Title, Calamity Rider, the Gentle Giant, Conqueror of Time, Martial Arts Master, Dragon Tamer, the Fastest Man Alive, Animal Lover, World Traveler. HP, MP, STR, and AGI, Int, MGC, Dex. Skills, Error Equipment, Error. ______. The sword nearly short-circuited. What? His stats are unreadable. Who is this guy? It quickly appraised the blonde man next. ______. Name, Uzumaki Naruto. Race, Heavenly Demon God. Title, Terror Blade, God of Hope, God of Nature, god of shinobi, Jinchuriki of the Nine Baijiu, child of prophecy, world traveler. HP, MP, STR, and AGI, INT, MGC, Dex. Skills, unknown. Equipment, unknown. Underscore. Wah! The sword was practically screaming internally. These two are absolute monsters. How in the world do they know her? As if sensing the sword's panic, Satria gave a knowing grin. Don't worry, bro. We're here to help Fran. Let's take down whoever's controlling these monsters and stop this invasion. Naruto cracked his knuckles. Yeah, leave the heavy lifting to us. Let's go. Fran's heart swelled with newfound determination. For the first time, she didn't feel alone. To be continued. Chapter 61, Chapter 49. The adventure begin. How did this happen? How dare anyone destroy my scouting force? The figure's voice echoed through the dimly lit chamber, laced with disbelief and simmering rage. It clenched its claws, its eyes narrowing as it paced restlessly. Who could have done this? It would take at least one S-ranked adventurer to even stand a chance against them. And yet, the figure's gaze fell upon the shattered crystal used to monitor its forces. The image of their obliteration replayed in its mind, swift, merciless, and utterly terrifying. Grr! A guttural growl rumbled from its throat, reverberating through the air. Easy now. The figure placed a clawed hand against its own chest, forcing itself to breathe, to think. A sinister smile crept across its face, its sharp fangs glinting in the dim light. Patience. This time, I'll let you devour to your heart's content. It straightened, its voice resonating with dark resolve. I am the summoner of calamity. The harbinger who will cleanse this land of all life. Naruto glared at Satria. You're insane to launch such an attack without warning me first. Do you forget I'm here too? His tone carried irritation, thick as the chakras swirling around him. Satria responded with a casual shrug, his carefree grin intact. Forget you? Not at all. I trusted the god of hope to either dodge or block it. I mean, you're Naruto. What's the big deal? Naruto sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. Trust, hey? You're a walking headache. From within, Kurama roared with laughter. Ha! The problematic brat calls another problematic brat out. This is priceless. Madadabi's voice purred softly in agreement. Naruto, don't let his antics fool you. This one's dangerous like a wolf hiding in sheep's clothing. Watch him carefully. Naruto didn't respond immediately, his sharp blue eyes still trained on Satria. He could feel the new energy radiating from him, bright, warm, and calming, yet powerful enough to make even his beastly instincts flinch. How can someone exude such overwhelming energy without it feeling oppressive, he thought. Meanwhile, Fatalis chimed in with a dry remark to Satria. Do you think you can beat him if things go south? Satria tilted his head, considering it. Maybe. I'd say a 50% chance, but the aftermath wouldn't be worth it. Let's not turn this world into Armageddon just to prove a point. Fran, still perched on Satria's arm, stirred slightly. Can you put me down for a moment? Satria gently lowered her to the ground. He raised his hand, golden energy beginning to radiate from his palm. Fran tilted her head in curiosity. What's that? Satria smiled softly. Come closer. I'll fix you up. As the warm energy enveloped Fran, her wounds healed, her fatigue faded, and a strange, euphoric lightness filled her body. She blinked, her tail swishing instinctively. It feels amazing, she murmured, a soft purring sound escaping her. Satria chuckled internally. Adorable. Then, with a flick of his wrist, Satria pulled out a dress-up camera that glinted in the sunlight. With a single press of a button, Fran's tattered clothes transformed into an elegant red kimono. Fran looked down at herself in awe. What is this? It's beautiful. Naruto grinned approvingly. Good work, brat. You've got some style. Fran-chan, you look great. Fran blushed, her eyes flickering to Satria. What do you think? Do I look okay? Satria smiled warmly, his tone soft yet genuine. You look stunning, Fran. It suits you perfectly. Her blush deepened, her small hands clutching the fabric of her kimono. In her heart, memories of fairy tales surfaced, the ones her parents used to tell her about gallant knights saving princesses. This must be what it feels like, she thought, stealing another glance at Satria. Naruto clapped his hands, breaking the moment. All right, what's the plan now? Satria crossed his arms thoughtfully. We need to find a city or a safe haven for Fran. This world might be medieval, but there's bound to be a place where she can rest and get supplies. Naruto nodded. Good idea. Let's start there. He turned to Fran, his usual grin returning. Ready to go, Fran-chan. Fran hesitated for a moment, then lightly touched Satria's hand. Can we hold hands? Satria's expression softened, and he gently took her small hand in his. Of course. My hand is yours, young lady. Her heart fluttered at his words, warmth spreading across her face. For the first time since losing her parents, she felt safe, truly safe. Watching the scene, Fatalis couldn't resist snarking. Are you secretly collecting cat girls now, brother? You remind me of my daughter, Fran-chan. So adorable, Naruto blurted out with a fond smile. Fran tilted her head. Your daughter? Satria, intrigued by this rare glimpse into Naruto's personal life, leaned in slightly. Wait, you have a daughter? You didn't mention much about your family in the chat group. Naruto scratched the back of his head, chuckling. Yeah, I do. She's a cat girl, like Fran here. Cute as a button too. Hold on, I have a picture. He pulled out his phone and showed them an image. The photo displayed a stunning black-haired woman with golden cat-like eyes, holding a baby girl with blonde hair and a single black streak on the right side. The woman's radiant smile contrasted with the mischievous glint in her eyes. Fran's tail swished excitedly. She's a black cat like me. But she has two tails. She's so cute, Naruto-san. The sword, silently observing through its link with Fran, couldn't contain its thoughts. Holy cow, that woman's beauty is otherworldly. And those features. Is Fran going to grow up to look like her? Wait, how does a medieval setting have smartphones? Both Satria and Naruto paused, their faces blank as they realized they could hear the sword's inner musings. What a perverted sword! Trusting Fran to him might have been a mistake, Satria muttered to himself. Naruto sighed. Why is my life always surrounded by perverts? First Jiraiya-sensei, now this talking sword. Fran tilted her head in confusion. What's wrong? Satria ignored her for the moment and focused on the photo. Wait, this is Kurika, isn't it? Naruto, did you marry an SS rank criminal? Naruto smirked proudly. That's right. And I couldn't be happier. Satria blinked, processing the information. If Naruto's wife was Kurika, that meant... Fatalis's voice echoed in his mind, laughing hysterically. Congratulations, brother. Welcome to the family drama. Naruto noticed Satria's reaction and raised an eyebrow. You know Kurika? Satria shakes his head. Nope, only her name, but I live in the same world as her right now. Small world, hey. Naruto's eyes widened in excitement. Seriously? That's great. My wife has always wanted to see her little sister again. And I'd love to meet some old friends, like Ichigo. Satria froze, his expression bewildered. Wait. Ichigo? As in Ichigo Kurosaki? Naruto nodded casually. Yep. You know him? How the hell is Ichigo in the DxD world? Satria's brain raced to make sense of this bizarre connection. Hold on. Did your world already arrange a peace meeting at Kyoa Academy? Yup. I was there, standing in for the Greeks, specifically Old Man Poseidon. It was during the peace talks in Kurika's world. Satria sighed. So it's a different version of my world. Another multiverse bullshit situation. Just my luck. Naruto frowned in disappointment. So my Kurika and her little sister in your world aren't in the same world? That's unfortunate. Satria placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder. Don't lose hope. I'm close to your wife's little sister in my world. If the two of them share the same struggles, I might be able to bring her to visit. But... Naruto perked up. But what? You'd have to do something for me first. Deal. Naruto crossed his arms, narrowing his eyes suspiciously. What's the catch? Satria smirked. I'll tell you later. For now, let's leave this place. The smell of monster corpses isn't exactly pleasant. Fran nodded in agreement, still holding Satria's hand. Meanwhile, the sword finally broke its silence. What are they talking about? Multiverse? Fran, you shouldn't get so close to strangers even if they saved you. Satria chuckled. You're surprisingly chatty, aren't you? The sword froze, shocked. Wait, you can hear me? Naruto smirked. Yeah, we've been listening to your rambling since the start. Especially the part where you ogled my wife. The sword panicked. I didn't mean it like that. I was just curious. You're both strong, unfamiliar men, and I wanted to make sure Fran was safe. Satria leaned in slightly, his tone turning teasing but sharp. Peek at our stats without permission again, and we'll have a problem. I am sorry. It won't happen again, the sword stammered. Naruto sighed, shaking his head. I swear, my life is a magnet for trouble. Satria glanced at Fran, her small hand still holding his. He smiled softly. Let's focus on finding a city where Fran can rest. She's been through enough for one day. Naruto nodded. Good plan. Let's move. Fran's tail swayed behind her as she looked up at Satria. Thank you for everything. You're amazing. Satria ruffled her hair gently. No need to thank me. You're part of the team now, Fran. Let's get going. He squinted into the distance, pointing towards a commotion on the horizon. Look, merchant carriages over there. They're being attacked by goblins. Naruto glanced in the direction Satria pointed before placing a hand on both his companion's shoulders. In an instant, the group vanished, reappearing in the middle of the chaotic scene. What? Is this teleportation magic? The sword asked, sounding both amazed and confused. Naruto shrugged casually. Something like that. So, who's taking care of this? Me or you? He asked Satria. Before Satria could answer, Fran stepped forward, determination shining in her eyes. I will defeat them. Naruto's eyes widened. What? No way. It's too dangerous. What if you get hurt? What if? Satria cut him off with a playful jab of his elbow to Naruto's ribs, earning a glare from the blonde ninja. Go for it, Fran. Show us what you've got, Satria said, his voice calm but encouraging. Prove to us you're not just some helpless little lady waiting for her Prince Charming to save her. Fran's ears perked up, and a small smile formed on her face. The trust in Satria's words filled her with confidence. She tightened her grip on her sword and focused on the goblin horde, determination radiating from her petite frame. Let's go, Fran. Show them the power of our bond, the sword urged her, its voice brimming with excitement. Yes, Shishao, Fran replied firmly, her stance lowering as she prepared to charge. As Fran leaped into battle, Naruto turned to Satria, scowling. Hey! What was that about? You just threw her into danger without a second thought. Satria remained unbothered, leaning casually on a tree. Relax. Fran isn't some ordinary kid. She's a warrior stronger than you think. Trust her. Damn it. Too many goblins, the merchant yelled, trying to flee as the horde closed in around him. His desperation was palpable, but the goblins showed no intention of letting him escape. Suddenly, Fran leaped into action. Sword technique, triple thrust, she called out, driving her blade into a goblin's back 3 times in quick succession, each strike precise and lethal. The goblin crumpled to the ground, lifeless. She then turned, delivering a swift slash that cleaved her next target cleanly in 2. 2 goblins charged at her from behind, their weapons raised to strike. My turn, the sword's voice echoed. A shimmering wave of energy erupted from the blade, slicing through the goblins before they could get close. That was magical slash. Use it wisely, Fran. I'll teach you more techniques when the time is right, the sword instructed. Fran nodded in understanding, her movements fluid as she prepared for any remaining threats. When the last goblin fell, she checked the dimensional chat on her interface and saw a notification. Side mission complete. Reward, 25 copyright for defeating the goblins and saving the merchant. Fran turned to escort the shaken merchant back to safety, her posture confident and her expression calm. From a safe distance, Naruto and Satria observed her battle. I see now, Naruto said, rubbing his chin thoughtfully. It's a unique kind of teamwork. Fran handles the direct combat, and that living sword supports her with magic and guidance. It's like fighting 2 opponents in one body. Satria nodded in agreement. Exactly. For a girl her age, she's ferocious. She doesn't hesitate to deliver a finishing blow when it's needed. This little kitten is already impressive, but I can't imagine how fearsome she'll be in the future. Moments later, Fran approached them, escorting the merchant, who was effusively thanking her for saving his life. She stopped in front of the 2 men, tilting her head slightly. So? Fran asked, her voice tinged with curiosity and anticipation. What do you guys think of my performance? Naruto grinned widely. You're amazing, Fran-chan. Reminds me of myself at your age minus the sword, of course. Satria crouched slightly and gently patted her head. You're strong, clever, and brave, Fran. I'm proud of you. Fran froze at his words, her eyes widening slightly. A new, unfamiliar warmth bloomed in her chest, spreading through her body. His touch was so gentle, so reassuring. For a moment, the harsh memories of her past faded away, replaced by a profound sense of peace. Her tail began to sway involuntarily, and a soft purring sound escaped her lips. FBI, open up. We've got a suspicious individual over here. Arrest him immediately. Fatalis teased, her voice full of mockery. Satria's eyes twitched. Idiot. I'm just praising her for her hard work. Don't turn this into something weird. You're just jealous because you're not getting the attention. Excuse me, the merchant said hesitantly, catching the group's attention.